Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, the Paranormal Portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together. Here we are. How y'all doing? I messed myself up there. We're still waiting on Steve, and I'm trying to turn down all the sound and everything. I'm telling you what, remember all this stuff for an old gal. How y'all doing? I don't know how many guys in here. I see Laura and Oracles. I know you do a show. If I don't know, I'll tell you what, if you have a show on YouTube or a show on podcast, put up a show of hands. You can throw a link. Mods, that's absolutely fine. These are our gatekeepers. Let's share, everything. Creepy Unsolved, how you doing, hun? Stick your link in here. That's fine. Because I was in what Donnie called the Cisco after party last night over at Steve's and Sandy's. And just saying hi, because I'll tell you, when you do this, and if you're doing lots of editing, or if you're doing tape, hey Dylan, hey Aunt Edna, hey Grey Wolf, how you doing? Hey Monica, welcome in. When you're doing this and you're editing and you're just think. First, you have to teach yourself how to do it, or you have to rely on friends that can teach you a little this, a little that, sound equipment. I can't tell you. When I first started my very first podcast, I watched about 25, 30 different YouTube videos trying to set up. You have to get your RSS feed. You have to figure out, you're going to be a podcaster, put it on iTunes and Apple Tunes and Spotify, and everybody's got different rules, and your picture has to be the right size. I mean, just from the very beginning. Then I remember I went through and I had my name. It was going to be Beyond the Gate. And I searched and searched and searched. No podcasts, no shows, no anything. And I had all my stuff set up. I had my email. I had my cover art. I had everything, man. If you knew all the different levels and stuff. And then I heard that there was a guy on a radio show somewhere that had a Beyond the Gate. And I just couldn't do it. I had to start it right. And I had to start all over, and change everything. So I got myself in a pickle because I opened some, it's not unusual for me. I had to start off a lot of the different apps and downloads and software and goodness knows all the stuff with different emails. So I think I have probably 8 Gmail accounts. God knows how many passwords, right? So anytime anything techie goes wrong, it takes extra. But I wanted to just tell you a little bit about that. Then you decide what kind you're going to have. Are you going to, obviously you want to interview people, you want to have guests. Are you going to do it video or just audio? I'm telling you, for those podcasters out there just doing audio, the work is, it's really not easier. I mean, they're in there editing and splicing and adding this and intros and outros and, splicing together sounds and, oh, geez, it's so much. So I just wanted to give a little homage out there. We are waiting on Steve. I don't know what happened. He said he'd be here in a minute. Hang on, hold on, pardon me, I don't want to be rude, showing you my ear, but I have to look over here. I think I heard a pop. That could have been him. Let me go look. Okay, now I can see. Yep, there he is, speaking the devil, and the devil appears. Ooh, I did it to you that time. Hi,
sorry,
sweetheart.
I'm running late.
That's okay. I was gibbering on. I was telling him how difficult, well, not difficult, but how, I I wanted everybody to put their links in here if they had shows. I told the mods it's absolutely okay. A lot of our mods have their own shows, whether it be podcast or YouTube channel or a website or So I told them to load them up because just thinking about how much it takes to edit and put together and the ideas and talk to the guests and schedule guests and try to figure out what the guests are, what they want to talk about and their time frame. What type of guest is it going to be, right, Steve? Because sometimes they'll call up and go, okay, that'll be $150 for an hour. We've had them, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah, I've had guests that expected to be paid, so.
Guess the next sound that those people hear.
Click. This is your recording. We're not in right now.
We are trying to reach you about your car's warranty. I'm
and
sorry.
I understand, people's time is valuable and stuff, but if you come on here, especially if you've got something to promote, it can be worth your time to do it because, books or a TV show, a podcast, or your own show or whatever, that's how you find out about it. I couldn't tell you how many shows I've been on, some little shows and some and the biggest shows. But I try to treat everybody just the same. And give everybody. I've had just as much fun on. I was on with Paranormally Blonde the other night.
I wanted to catch that. I didn't get the whole thing, but man, how
was
was
that? 200 subscribers, but now they've got a bunch of subscribers.
Oh,
and the video that I was on there for them has had something crazy like 2,500 views. It's their number one viewed video. So, I helped them out a little bit. It's all about para-unity. People talk about it. That's how you do it. You go on smaller shows and help them, and then you go on the bigger shows and they help you. It's all mutually beneficial.
Absolutely. And I was just yammering on to try to say it doesn't matter if you're a podcaster. I told him how I got started. Lord, how many phone calls, Steve, back and forth, both of us. Steve would say, take a picture of it. Take a picture of what kind of equipment. And then he said, good Lord, It's like got stuff hanging together with duct tape and, my microphone, stolen band equipment from Mario. Mario, if you're listening, he knows about it. So it's
we had a little bit of the spirit of Bruce Springsteen in your equipment there, because he probably had stuff he borrowed from the band when he played for
God.
Bruce. Still got it. You borrowed it, so
much band equipment back and
forth.
The
boss had something to do with your podcast there.
Oracle's put hers up here, honey. She's probably knowing Oracle's. Hey, Cassie, she's probably putting other people's up.
And no justice, no peace. I do toot my own horn every chance I get. When you're an artist, when you're a creator, whether you're a writer or whatever you do, you got to believe in what you do if other people are going to believe in it. I promote other people just as much as I promote myself.
Absolutely. And everybody on here, like I said, if you've got a show, because I've started what I was saying, Steve, while you weren't here, is, Donnie says we have the after party on your show, Cisco after party, coming over there and joining with the Stocktonites and just having one great big old bash at the end of the night. And it's just delightful to go in there as someone in the chat, enjoying somebody else's show and talking to some of the same people and catching up and, getting to know them a little bit more, on that basis. It's different. And just wonderful. And you had said, check out Dylan. I had no idea he could sing. Or is Daryl? Daryl. Forgive me with my D's. If you have the, it's the same letter. That's
Dylan's
good for me.
Unseen Paranormal podcast.
Yes, and the talent there.
I think that's the name of his podcast. Sorry if I got it wrong.
Yeah.
I get them mixed up too.
That's where I'm asking to put him up here.
Dylan's got an excellent podcast. He just got his monetization thing. He's just got to get his watch hours.
Yep.
He's the Creepy Unsolved is Dylan.
It's all downhill from here, honey.
Unsolved Paranormal podcast. I think that's Eric Sims, another great show.
Yeah, and we have
just
3
so
souls.
Many out there. All this, we've
talent.
been able to work with the cream of the crop, and some of them just as they were rising creators. Some of them, people never heard of, but there's so much talent and so much good
Midnight in the Mountains, Laura.
Look at Donnie Cho.
Donnie.
He's
all up.
So
he's
many
starting
new thoughts in our head. I think it's because he's an alien. We've reached that conclusion, Aunt Edna and I.
He might be popping in with us here in a little bit.
He's there now, but he told us the other day he'd never had a chocolate milkshake. And
he said it didn't make sense to him. I never thought about it like that. Well, now it doesn't make sense to me either, but I'm still going to drink
He's never had an ice cream sundae. Well, he must be an alien. Donnie, have you ever had a bologna sandwich?
Said something about a grilled cheese. But that was the
He's
main
here
thing. Yeah, he's here, but
to see
he
what
might
we
pop in with
know
us later to see
about
what he wants
his
to do.
people, his planetary. Yeah, there's an Aunt Edna saying, "Where is that alien?" But
He's
yeah,
here.
Laura Elizabeth, Midnight in the Mountains.
Right? From the cover art to the editing to the calling of the guests to trying to, last night's guest was absolutely wonderful. When I heard her speak, I just resonated with her energy and I had to get her on. So I started looking and I started, researching a little bit. But again, time. Busy people, I go on a specific time. I've tried to do some in the afternoon and they just don't get seen. It's not the same because the chat's not here.
Yeah,
You know,
Dylan's here.
it's
He's
different.
creepy unsolved.
Hi, Dylan.
I think
Eric's coming on with us soon.
I
My
may have
gosh,
got
the
Eric's
talent.
wrong. It's the Unseen.
Unseen.
I think, yeah, I get them mixed up. Like I said, forgive me, anybody,
There's
if I
something to
butchered
look
the
forward
name
to,
of your
too.
show.
That's the night that I sit back and Cisco's going to shut her mouth, believe it or not. I'll even turn off my mic. I'm going to just let you two old rattlesnakes go at it. You two Tennessee boys.
You gonna be quiet? We can sell tickets for that.
Can you imagine just...
I called Ripley. He didn't believe it.
Nope, I don't believe it either. I know me. I've seen me do it.
And
but
Cassie's got a great channel.
yes, Cassie's got a great
Ray
show.
Wolf of Paranormal. She's getting ready to kick hers off.
Hey, Jackie.
Sasha Bell. She's in a different genre, but she's going to be helping me with some stuff we're doing over on Missing Persons and Mysteries, one of our new channels that we've split off over there.
It's just amazing, the talent, Steve. It's not just the people who are the voiceover artists and the animators, the editors, the people who put together the videos. Some of these people do it all from beginning to end, and then there's all the different groups that are all intermingled, and everybody. It's like being in a great big, really cool rock and roll band with all interchangeable musicians and stuff. Plays beautiful music, and the thing is I was listening to one of Nomar's today because he's coming on with us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I've had him on a couple of times. Fascinating individual. His books are awesome.
The audio he put out there, the clip, and I'm just looking at it, and it's scared. I'm going to tell you, God's on truth, scared the living shit out of me. I kid you not. I'm listening. I'm going, it's next level. Just the voices that he's, I don't know if it's him alone doing this. It could very well be. I don't know. Laura, do you know if he does his own voices or does he get, people come on too? But it was just this thing coming in the door and standing there talking to this little girl and trying to get her to invite him in. It was the creepiest thing I ever heard. I had to cut it off.
I want to hear that. You'll have to send me the link. Susan Woodcarver's here. Hey, Susan.
Yeah. Hey, sweetie. Hey, Susan. How you doing? Thank you for the lovely comment on YouTube.
She does some amazing wood carving, like the big
talent,
outdoor stuff. She just everybody that and on any of our shows, there's some talents. There's some.
Laura says yes.
Stuff.
Yes, he does his own
something. Remember Michael Laciana? Now he's got a series of videos and stuff that he does that's just exceptional. I mean, it's
on Prime,
Amazon Prime, and it's network quality stuff, cable
Journey Through
stuff.
History.
But he's got some of the most amazing EVPs you'll ever hear.
Amazing
and I think
equipment.
It's him. I think it's him.
I do too. I 100% agree. And we've talked about that multiple times on the show, going in with different intent, going in with the different people. I hate to say it, but people in this chat have been with me when, and with other groups like, KSPS with Jim and Dave, Mike Simpson, fantastic. If you come to Gettysburg, you'll meet all these wonderful people. And the Gettysburg Bash is scheduled. It's going on August, I forget the date, 20-something to 20-something. It's 3 days. Wyndham Hotel. And if you go in as Gettysburg Bash, you get a cut on the room. And if you can't stay there 25 miles to the left, you might be able to stay at Hoover this year. I'm not sure. They've got another 5-6 room and days in next to it. So
another group
think about
talented people, the Keystone State Paranormal, KSPS. I've been on their show a couple times.
Evidence.
They are just incredible.
CDs of them. It's better stuff than I've seen 2-3 seasons of another show. And it's that's not just anything about the shows. I think it has something to do with the intent. There's multiple paranormal groups in here, and I know how you talk in here. You're talking the same way when you go in, and you're kind, and you're thinking about them as people, and what would it be like if you were in their shoes, kind of thing, like the others, right? so I know you're getting good evidence and things like that. And I hope that some of the guests we have on the show give you new ideas, like Rob Guttrow, eating chocolate. Everybody gathers outside to say their own special prayer or energy protection, golden bubble, love bubble thing. And it's wonderful. And they all share chocolate and a laugh and tell jokes. Never heard of anything better to do before you go into a bad situation in a house that might have some negative stuff, because now everybody's, vibrations up. It's like if you ever been to a thing, Steve, it's like a spiritualism night. I mean, real good old fashioned spiritualist gathering where they do the whole ceremony. You get together, and the first thing they do is play a song. They played Spirit in the Sky last time I went. Everybody got up, danced barefoot.
Oh,
it was the coolest thing. And then everybody just sits down. Everybody hugs the person to the left. Then you hug the person to the right. Hey, Mulder. And
he wants chicken nuggets. Sorry.
Then you do the readings and stuff. It's amazing. If you're outside, it's okay. You know that, Steve. We're all family. But he could be singing. But anyway, I just wanted to give respect out there to everybody and your talent. We have tarot card readers. We've got story writers, storytellers. It's amazing. It just blows me away. And I started thinking about it last night when you said to go check out Daryl's channel. And, so that's also...
He's got a voice on that.
Wow. It's also encouragement for anybody. If you've got that idea that you want to try something, a craft, I've done all kinds of crafts. I make jewelry. I do make dream catchers. I do Native American arts and things like that. And you name it, I've probably tried it. Soap making, bath, all kind of stuff. Candles, whatever. Do it. Because I think it's an expression not of just your... yourself and the artist in you, but I think it's also a good form of meditation. So I know when I'm making a video or something. Now tonight I made a video for you guys. I totally messed it up. I don't know how. I think I have an idea. My son gave me a gift. Hello, Motor. Hi, Togo.
He knows there's chicken nuggets somewhere. He's not happy.
Oh, bless him. Hey, sweetheart. He's still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, isn't he, honey?
Yeah.
It's so good to see him doing good. Yeah, we absolutely love our fur babies. He's a doll. But everybody's excited. Yeah, there's Mulder. That's just it. They give us love, we give them love right back. So why wouldn't this chat?
Best friend and constant companion.
Yep. But there's the thing. Now, Courtney, are you still here, honey? Holler out. She reached out to me after the show last night and sent me a video. I'd rather her explain it because I'll surely mess it up. It was late last night, and I asked her if we could show it here on the show, and she said sure. Are you still here, hon? Give her a second to respond. She's here. But... yeah. Oh, yep. There you are. What would you like to say about this? Is there any... I'll play the first one with the unknown object. Is there something you'd like to say about that, or the person that videotaped it? Give us any background on that, and I'll put it up here. Takes a second, guys. There's a delay between when we say it and it goes over. But... yeah, so much talent, and absolutely reach out and just try it. And something I heard too, Steve, about thinking about reincarnation a lot. I've been watching a lot of that Ghost Inside My Child and other shows. Some amazing stories. There's a little girl, 4 years old. I had been saying stuff about an island, even drew a picture with crayon of how the island looked like almost from an aerial view. And thank goodness she had parents that were digging in, would dig into it, and look. But at 4 years old, came back, she went to sleep, and apparently it downloaded her memory that she knew hieroglyphics. I wrote them all out in a crayon and matched them up with today's word. Like this was a mango, this is a, whatever. I mean, how do you deny something like that? Where's a 4-year-old going to know how to do that? So that's pretty bombastic. Okay, here we go. She has put down. So we have exclusive footage tonight, folks. And I'll tell you what, your guess is as good as mine. Thankfully, he had enough. Okay, wait a minute, I missed one. See what happens when I rattle my mouth? Oh, anyway, my son got me stoned.
Me to read it. Thankfully, he had enough wherewithal to think to record it, and that's what he got.
Okay. And she was saying something else about it last night, like something about the trees were sparkling, so I'm guessing... Okay, here we go. He was just out on his patio one night and happened to notice a dance mountain road, whatever it was. Oh, dancing down the road, I think she's trying to say. All right, well, let's take a look at it and see what y'all think. Now, I'm guessing it was at night, right, Courtney? Because you were saying that these trees, there was no reflection of anything that was on it, like moonlight or anything like that, right? The second video is still in frame. He is just sitting underneath a tree, and you can see the sidewalk. Okay, yeah. And then I still don't know why the trees were glittering and shining the way that way, because they are not illuminated at all. There you go. She said it better than me. So here we go. Let's take a look at the first video, and I'll run it a couple times, okay?
I do not know what the hell that is.
So it's obviously not like a Walmart bag or something, from his perspective. And it doesn't seem to be affected very much by the cars. Like a bag would go up, fly up, and come back down, wouldn't it, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
With the cars going by like that. Where'd it go? Do-do-do-do-do-do. I know it catches it again because I see it jumping on the trees. It's crazy when it starts moving. And I've been seeing a couple videos like this. It's about ready to start. Okay. It almost looked like, and I'll play it again, when it was jumping, it was almost jumping up above the trees and then came down to the road and disappeared. I don't know, Steve. What do you think?
It's strange footage, whatever it is. And obviously, he was seeing it a lot better than we're seeing it on here due to the low light conditions. Mm-hmm. But
I do not know what the hell
looks
that
like
is.
something flying through the sky. It turned in over in a couple times there, went through the trees.
Uh-huh. And she says
it's not
here
behaving
that...
like a plastic bag or balloon or anything like that.
See, the way the car went by, it would have just gone... Or got caught under. The car's at least blown up and away.
And he said he noticed it dancing in the road at first.
Right. She was using voice text. I know that it doesn't understand my voice either, honey.
Strange.
And I don't see where it disappeared. How about that? Now, this is the
Tim
second...
thinks it's a bird, but it doesn't behave like any bird I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it was at like 2 a.m. in the morning. Now, when I first saw it, I started looking up, and I had a couple of videos saved. I'm sorry I didn't get those together for you guys, but I've been seeing, over the past couple of years, these like black globs, almost like a shadow person, but outside. And it's moving like oogity boogity kind of. You know what I mean? It's just like a black blob. The hands, you can see arms like reaching for something, but it moves like a black mist that stays together. It's crazy. I've seen them coming out from like behind a garage and up a house and then like off the trees, like spring off the trees and then disappear, much like that one we saw a couple weeks ago that just appeared on the corner and then went across the street and then just floated up and went away. But I was seeing a lot of the dark black ones, you know, the real dark, dense, you know, so dark it's standing out in these CCTV things, like it's just a void of light. And now I'm seeing a lot of these glowy white ones, and it seems, this what caught my eye is what she was saying, that the trees were glistening and sparkling. I've seen 2 videos, and I'm on the search for them. So if you guys see them, send them to me in my messenger, because I saw them about a month ago, and now I can't find them again. I got to go back through all the stuff. But it's the same thing, and when it touched the tree, the tree would almost sparkle, like the tree's energy was woken up when it was touched by this light, almost like a glistening cloud figure that climbed up the tree, hopped along the top of the trees, and then off and gone. So here's the second one, and these are trees glistening with no illumination. And again, he said this is like 2 a.m., so it's just as lit as it was in the street. But from his point of view, the trees are almost sparkling, like they were wet and moonlight was dancing, yet those 2 factors weren't involved. So what do you think about that, guys? Have you guys ever seen anything like that before? Thank you, Cassie, darling, for dropping the links.
I sent you something in Messenger there that somebody sent to me. I won't say her name, but
okay.
When you get a chance, and if you can put that up and look at it, that's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It looks like dust.
Okay.
But there couldn't be that much dust in a house, I don't think, and you still
right
in a clean, normal house.
Right.
I've been in some old abandoned places where there was a lot of dust in the air, but she thinks it's pixie dust or fairy dust, or because she has.
Oh my goodness!
She has a lot of things happen there, like things moving on their own and things like that.
Oh my goodness!
If you can get that on the screen, I think people enjoy watching.
Surely, I'll see if I can do it without knocking us out here. That's amazing. And do we have permission to show that?
Yeah.
Courtney says here, but when that truck passes it, if you watch where it goes into the gutter, it looks like it shoots off as an orb. You know, it did kind of look like it shot off there. I thought it was behind the tree,
it
but
like
that might have been
stretching out and then contracting. It's like almost like a rubber band or something.
Yeah. It's very weird. I should probably explain my son got me stoned comment. So for my birthday, I have a lot of problems with, we have arthritis and all through the family, to the point of, God help him, my brother, just suffers so badly with it. His fingers started going. They had to break his fingers, put pins. Horrible arthritis, trust me. So I've been on herbs all this time, so mine's not really bad, unless there's some really crazy storms out there. There's some really crazy storms out there. So I work on my feet all day long. I don't stop. I run like a freight train. And for my birthday, he gives me this vape pen and says, "Here, this will help you rest." Trust me, it's perfectly legal in New Jersey now, so things have gotten better. But I didn't know it was going to be that strong, and it's probably got a little THC in there. So I texted him this morning. I said, "I got to drive in like 2 hours. How long does this stuff last?" He said, "Oh, good luck with that. You're supposed to do it before you sleep." So, but I'll tell you what, good news is my back doesn't hurt anymore. So there you go.
Right on.
Yep. There you go. So I'm a little goofy, even more than usual even. Monica, you have severe arthritis in your feet? Yeah, I started, again, I can't give you medical advice, but I would tell you to look up a little thing called cat's claw. The story behind that is, well, it's a long one, but I've been doing it for about 35 years. It comes out of Peru, Mother Nature's kitchen only, and from the rainforest, and we know how we're losing them. So it's called Una de Gato, cat's claw, and I started studying it back when they weren't even thinking about it in America, so I had to look at tests in Brazil and the UK and Canada and all over. And it said they accidentally found out it was really good for arthritis, and it does some other really great things, but it does have some stipulations, so please look into it, do your own research. But everybody I know just about is on it. And the funny thing is, 20 years ago, I told my brother about it. He took it. He loved it. His heart doctor loved it because it works with cholesterol and stuff too. Steve knows all about it. And after a while, he just got nervous because it's an herbal thing, and it wasn't a prescription. People sometimes are more comfortable with prescription. And long story short, he got into a lot of it really started taking him over again. And he went through all the shots and then yada yada. And Brian Bowden can speak on it too. And hi honey, how you doing? And anyway, he decided he wanted to get off all the pain stuff and all the other medication and back off the shots. So he starts to do it gradually, like you should. And he talks to his doctor. He said, I'd like to do something maybe more natural. What should I do? He called the National Association for the Arthritis Foundation. And under their it was the number one recommended herb for arthritis and pain and inflammation. Cat's claw. Thank you very much. So, if it's okay with them now, then, but it's been a long haul for cat's claws, so it really does work for some people, but please do your own research. It does make other medicines work too good and stuff like that.
Some things work better for some people than they do others, but your mileage may vary, but something really helps me out are the CBD edibles.
Oh, yeah, see?
These have a little bit of THC in them. That's the only way you can get them, but
that looks good. I love that box.
Strawberry gummies. Yeah,
what's the company on that?
Wild, W-Y-L-D.
Okay.
And then inside that nifty little folding box, there's another little,
pretty
little tub, and you squeeze it, and it pops open.
That's so neat.
And dispenses the gummies
right.
out of there.
Now, does that help with inflammation? It
does. It helps with the gout. Gout's my biggest problem.
Does that have wild cherry in it, or?
This is strawberry.
Strawberry flavor, but what's the active ingredients that works in there besides the THC? Or is it just the THC?
The THC and the CBD. Yeah, that's it. They're organic. But a couple of these a day and organic tart cherry juice.
Yeah.
100%
so
juice.
Good.
That'll knock gout out real quick.
So good. And I know there's certain food you shouldn't eat. And it's funny that you bring that up because, well, see, that's the thing. Before everything went legal in New Jersey, you had to go. I mean, I know people that I, was in conversations with them. It's beautiful.
There's the logo.
Very cool.
Wild, W-I-L-D. I go to the pot shop to get it, but I think you can order it online.
Now, this is sage. This is not a joint.
Everything's legal out here.
Yeah. Well, see, I can't remember, maybe a year or something like that. It started being legal here, and it's just so weird because for 50 years everything is just illegal, and you're still got that paranoia, like, oh no, am I doing something wrong?
Yeah, I know. When I walk out of the pot shop, I'm just waiting for the cops to jump around the corner.
I know,
clubbing me on the head or tase me or something.
I know. Now it's just like, woo, it's so easy. But I got that, and I'll tell you what. It works, and the other thing is you're not used to hitting it, so it's real nice and cool, and you have no idea how much you're getting. It's like the first time you ever hit a water bong or something, and you just have no idea, and then you sit back and you go, whoa, that was too much. But it really did. I don't know what they've mixed it with, but it just kind of spread across. If you ever had sciatica, I mean, I had it so bad that it was like having an epidural. It swelled up so much, my back, that I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand up, I was numb, my legs were numb. I worked a Valentine's Day, pulled my back and kept going, And, you really shouldn't do that. In the Army, I did a lot of stuff like that, too. I busted my knee in an obstacle course. I must have dropped probably about 27 feet, landed on my knee, caught most of it with my arms, which probably jammed me up in my elbows, but my knee got most of it, and then I just tried to play it off, and it wound up marching 30 miles. Never been the same. So that's the stupid things we do when we're young and we pay for when we're older. So if some of this stuff's working, if that works, if this works, and it's, whatever this is legal. But I know there's stuff in it that has the CBD that doesn't have the THC in places that, but even in some states you can't get it. Like I said, I knew families
where you can find it without the THC.
Right.
But just a little bit of THC, it's not that bad. It will kind of give you the munchies, but it gives you another little boost.
What does Bowden say in here? There's no telling. Buckets of what? If it's wrong to buy our weed from a hole in the brick wall or a bucket that drops from the roof of an abandoned building, then I don't want to be right. Me either, baby. He was sending me code today. I thought he was in trouble. He was sending pictures of pizza
Yeah, I
or
saw
something.
that today. I wondered if that, Brian, blink twice if you need some help.
That's what I said. I said, is this a code? I'll come help you. Because it was like so many pepperonis, and I'm saying it was probably the weed. You know? Guys, I'm 60. I'll tell you what. I remember back in the day, woo, man, an album cover. Put on a good album, that needle just hits the outside of the album. You're sitting there rolling that
Even
joint,
if it's
cleaning
something
the
you don't like. I've been
oh my God.
past so stoned that stuff I didn't
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
listened to it because I couldn't get up off the couch to change it.
Loggins and Messina on
Hey,
stage.
Jim
Woo.
Malliard of the Malliard Report just joined us.
Hey,
there,
Jim.
buddy.
Hi, sweetie. How you doing? Brian says no codes. Oh wow! Thank you for coming in here, man. How you doing, sweetie? And we got another
go check
one
out
here.
the Malliard Report. He's got a great show over there.
Pro. He's an absolute pro. Been doing it for a long time. Great guest, great interviewer. Absolutely. He was like podcast daddy. Do you have a card for New Jersey, or can we just get it now? Hubs desperately needs it for inflammation, pain due to you mean in New Jersey? As far as no, stop a 15-year-old on the street and just tell him get you to the nearest bud.
Tell him you're going to have to confiscate whatever he's got with him, and then don't let me catch you with another one.
I forget how much you could. I mean, I don't. No, but there's the amount that you're allowed to have is like as long as you're not distributing. But there might be something like you're not allowed to sell it, but you can buy it, but you can't buy it. But if you have it,
only be so much, and you can use it, but you can't buy it to use it. There's so many silly rules. They need to just go ahead and do what they did out here. Just like, okay, go ahead. And they actually doubled the amount you can buy out here this year.
Did they?
Before you could only buy an ounce, now you can buy 2 ounces.
Some of my New Jersey people put up there what it is. I think it's, just go to it. You can buy it online. They deliver it to your door.
Sir Brian, I'm looking forward to hearing about that. He says his next adventure is going to be DMT.
Uh-oh.
You get to meet the machine elves that
Please let me know so I can make sure I put a couple 100 miles between us when you do that, Brian. Because he's, without anything, the man's mind and his abilities and everything else are just off the charts. So I can't imagine. Anything could happen. Oh, Dark Side of the Moon. Everybody was into it. I was, of course, I really liked it. I didn't get into it like other people. I was one of those. I was an AC/DC girl. I was Loggins and Messina. I had moods. I was eclectic. You might catch me listening to Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits or Meatloaf and AC/DC and Loggins and Messina. But when you're, Cat Stevens, Tea for the Tiller Man. I love that album. Harvest, Neil Young. No. I mean, I could just keep naming it, but I wasn't a Led Zeppelin person because so many people just Led Zeppelin. I was more AC/DC. I was Angus, still am. Absolutely. But, Brian, when are you planning on doing
that would make a good live show.
If you wonder we'll talk. There was something up here with a catch. Okay, here we go. That was it. Okay, I wanted to make sure I got that. I don't know, hon. If somebody could put the New Jersey stuff up here, I'll tell you what. These youngins know better than I do. We want to get a CBD. Okay. Yeah, but you can still, honey, with the door thing. I mean, you could get. I joke you not. I mean, again, ask around because you can actually get, bud and stuff. It's just that they listed as something. I don't know. You got to get a kid because I don't understand it all. And I didn't understand it, how it was going to hit me when, my back pain went away and then all of a sudden the rest of it came and I was just like, whoa. So make sure you're talking to somebody, who knows what's going on. Because if I had to drive, I wouldn't been able to do it. There was no way I would get behind a vehicle till some of that. I was thinking about jumping in a cold shower. That was 2 hours after I did it. So be careful. Approach with caution. That's all I can say.
Your mileage may vary.
And God bless it, because I know a lot of people that are probably helped by it now.
And if you do get it from somebody, listen to how they tell you to use it.
Yeah.
I had somebody make me some cookies one time, and they handed them off to me on the train platform. They said, those are strong, be careful. Start out with a fourth. And because the train, I heard, those are strong, be careful. Start out with 4. And I was stuck on the train literally like half a day because I kept missing my stop. And out here, the train goes, the north or the east-west train goes, or the north-south, whichever one it is, goes all the way to the airport. And then you don't have to get off. It just starts back to the other end. It's about 2 hours each direction. And I spent about 6 hours riding the train. But I was happy.
Yeah, I was happy all day too. I did a lot of stuff.
4 was a big difference.
I got so much done. I retaped all my Christmas boxes and labeled them and everything. Cleaned out the closet, reorganized the prepper closet, the little one, and then I just did so much stuff. And you know what? I didn't get hungry. You know, like that. You know, when you get really, really hungry, you get the munchies. I didn't get any of that. But anyway, look at this. Blue is, you know, I got deep feelings for Blue because of his background. I can't wait to get him on here and hear the stories because, you know, Mario's son is a detective, and I've known many people that have put in service, you know, just a soldier on the street, same thing, same camaraderie, same, you know what I mean? Danger and experiences and everything else. But now look at this. Went and added this to it. Cisco, I ran into them ACDC here in Nashville, spent about an hour with them asking questions about my horse. They were very nice gentlemen. I bet they were. We've lost Malcolm. Man, Blue. I know I got real close to Angus many a time. I never got backstage. Always partying. You know, having a good time in the front. They always give a great show. I think I've seen him 4 times.
I've met them before. He's a little bitty guy when you get up
Angus,
next to him. He's about 5'4", something like that.
Yeah, he's a little bitty. We'd be eye level. That'd be fine with me. I'd be, you know, right about horn level. Remember he had put his little horns up and stuff. Oh my God, the talent. But we lost Malcolm, and we're all getting old, but my God, I don't care. People say, well, a lot of their stuff sounds the same, kind of like the heavy metal Nickelback or whatever, but I don't care. You always know what to expect.
It's my kryptonite.
Yeah, just hard rock and blues rock, you know what I mean? And I've always been a blues girl. And I've always been a rock girl, you know, and that was just fine with me. And then Meatloaf taught me how to sing. Bad Out of Hell. And the first time I was on a school bus, I know this isn't paranormal, I'm sorry, but we're just having a visit. I was a Lancer. Anybody know what that is? Color guard, the great big old flags with the big pole, the big ones, right? Yeah, I was. And while I was in high school. And so the bus rides were the best, you know, going to and from the games. So it was real quiet this one day coming back. We lost, of course we did. We always lost. So it was sad coming back, you know. And this one guy starts singing this line from Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And nobody had heard Meatloaf then. He was listening to underground, like, late night college radio coming out of New York, you know. And I had been in a rock band all this time, so we listened to all this obscure same stuff. So he's sitting toward the middle back of the bus, we're sitting toward the front of the bus, and he's singing it, and I answered it back. And we just it was that moment where he's like leaning forward and saying the next line, and I'm saying the next line. He's like, how do you know this? I'm like, how do you know this? You know? And one of the best buds I made in school. It was really great. But Meatloaf. And you got into like, oh gosh, all revved up, no place to go and all. Oh gosh, Jim Steinman, if you guys don't know, the piano player that was really the whole meat of Meatloaf, used to play so hard on the piano that he wore gloves and his knuckles would bleed through the gloves. And back when you're in high school, that's something to be, oh, you posted a great source for what, sweetheart?
Yeah, Jim Steinman was that man. He wrote the lyrics, he wrote the melody.
Batshit crazy.
So, of course, you had Meatloaf, whatever his real name is, I can't remember right now. But nobody could have sang it like he did. But Jim Steinman was that band.
Something a day?
It's like Marvin or something.
Yeah.
To Jim.
He says, just call me Meat. Everybody calls me Meat. That's what he says. And he's extremely into the paranormal, by the way. Done many, walk-on shows and everything else. Did you send it to me, Bri, or is it in this chat? Because I'm looking. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to. Oh, shoot. If anybody can copy that. Okay, it's in chat. I'll have to get it out. And it's a source for what? Right? Oh, for the dubage. Cool kids still call it that?
The dubage, yeah.
Oh my God, Gray! My son was conceived to Meatloaf. Oh, sweetie, what song? Oh gosh! Tell me it's not 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Gotta be Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
I would do anything for love.
But I won't do that.
But I won't do that. You know what I love? The newer stuff. Now, I have to say, Meatloaf has a great story. I was telling it to somebody the other day. I think it might have been Donnie. Thank you, Brian. Brian, if you hadn't heard, I'm a little stoned, and I'm sorry. But send it to the messenger, and I'll get it. Thank you, sweetheart. He was in Dallas the day JFK was assassinated. He has got a fan. You want to talk about stories? I'll see if I can get it and share it with you guys because I cannot do it justice. But he's got a story. Him and his friend, hey, where are you going? I'm going to ride up to 3 of them, I think, in high school. Because he was from Texas, would ride up to Dallas to see the president, and things, as we know, happened. And where he was when it happened and what happened to him after and how he wound up getting there is an amazing story, and I will try to find that for you guys in his words. And he's also, like I said, done many... that's got to be Sir Broden. Many... paranormal shows. He's extremely into it and has very good experience stories too. So there you go. Okay, so okay. So he's saying www. Wait, I lost it. Canasense, CANNA sense SENSE.com. And they will deliver to your house and get your card if needed. We're solving all kinds of problems here in the chat. There. And also you brought up about the herb thing. This is, I don't know if you guys can see it. If I back it off enough, maybe a little closer. There we go. The Forager's Guide to Wild Foods.
That looks like a great book.
This is what I wanted to... Yeah, my son gave this to me for my birthday. I get the best birthday stuff. It smells like a book. It smells so good. But the lady... This is a lady I was telling you about that was on a loan. She spent 57 days in Vancouver Island. Basically with nothing but a knife and her wits about her and the stuff she could find. She is a wonderful... I love her personality. Her energy is amazing. She lives in Portland. Okay? Her name is Nicole Apelian, PhD. She is an hang on one second. Here it says right here. She's an herbalist, a biologist, a survival skills instructor, and an anthropologist, and a mom. And she was the one I was telling you about. Now, if I can get the right angle, maybe this way. You guys might recognize her being on a loan. There she is. And wonderful. Now, the reason I'm saying this, full-blown MS. Cured it herself with her diet. She found out what caused it, what things in food set it off or triggered it, whatever. Cured it and went on this island, stayed 57 days. She had the best house. She cut her finger almost clean off. Thank you, Bri. And almost clean off. Went and got the moss, put it on a little arrowroot, and put the moss on it and wrapped it up. I've seen people tap out on a loan for less than that because they knew it was going to be deep. They didn't have anything to work with. And, they were scared they were going to get infected. Not, who's to blame them? Paper cut would kill you in the jungle. But how about that? She was fantastic. So I'm going to look up some stuff, and I urge you guys to do the same. You never know. I mean, I can remember when I was living in Alabama, one of the major cures for something I have was growing right in my backyard is mullein. And a lot of people smoke mullein, too, to clean out your lungs and, oh my gosh, herbs. I can't say enough good things about him. And Steve, too. He's listening to me jabber on and on. But anyway, how about a ghost story? What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Guess what I found? Now, I have to apologize. Toward the end there, I put my little stuff on it, and somehow it wound up going over the gentleman's face. But Steve and I have told you about this. Why isn't that national news? That's amazing. Great, it is. Because, there's no money in cures, baby. Right? And I don't want to get all crazy on you, but that's the God's honest truth. And if, look what they did to tobacco. Look what they've done to aspirin. They came over, what's that? Many natives showed them that willow bark. If you just, take the bark off a willow and you chew it, your headache goes away. The pain goes away, And before you know it, they turn it into aspirin, add some baking soda and some mamby-jamby up in there, patent it. Now they're making money on something you can pull out of your backyard.
Yep.
It's called money, power, and absolute corruption. That's what it is. Right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. There's no money in a cure, but there's plenty of money in continuing treatments.
Yep.
And then the side effects that the treatments cause, then you can treat the side effects too.
Yep.
I know somebody recently that went in for something, they gave them a pill. The pill caused side effects. They gave them more pills for the side effects. Just, no end in sight with something like that.
Yep, and there's Brian saying because there's a multiple billion-dollar industry in MS treatment and in pharmaceuticals of all kinds.
And a
there's
friend
so
that
many.
Has MS. She had to take the I can't remember the name of the medicine, but it was shots that you take I think once a month. $6,000 a shot.
That's what I was saying. I was very glad to see them legalize things. I know they have ulterior motives for it, but still, I knew families that I told to leave and go to Virginia, go here, go there, because their kid could benefit from the CBD oil, save his life, and they wouldn't let him have it here. Move! Don't sit and cry about it. Pick your stuff up, pack your bags, get that youngin' across the border. What are you thinking about? Why are you asking? Where are your questions? It's crazy that a couple 100 miles change everything.
Yeah.
Or 100, sometimes 50. Sometimes, a $50 bus ticket and 100 miles to change your whole world.
Yeah. In Kentucky, there used to be a little grocery store that was right on the Kentucky-Tennessee line going north. Mm-hmm. And they had two counters in there. One was in Kentucky and one was in Tennessee. So there were certain times that you couldn't buy beer in one, but you could step over the other side of the store and buy it because it was when you stepped on the other side of the store, you're on the other side of you're in the next state
Craziest shit
over.
you ever saw.
And I've seen counties where it was like that too, where in Tennessee there was a county line store where one county was dry, the next one next to it wasn't. You could go the other side of the store and buy beer on Sunday, but you couldn't on depending on which side you went in.
Donnie does it again. You want to catch that one, Steve?
I once knew a guy who was a big pharma salesperson. Never met a more soulless reptile in my life. Nice guy, though. When I worked in the computer industry, I had a medical management company that I worked for. We had 35 remote sites, and the idea behind it was we'd manage the business part of it and leave the doctors free to practice medicine. And I would see some of those pharmacy reps that would come in there, and they have all kinds of things that they give the doctors. Tickets on cruises, tickets to football games. You write me so many make sure you write so many prescriptions of this. I'll give you this, that, and the other.
Oh, honey.
There were kickbacks, presents, bonuses. It's a very, very dirty industry. So a lot of
Absolute
times
power,
they're
correct.
not recommending you the best medicine for you. They're recommending you the best medicine for them to win that cruise or to get those football tickets or any other nefarious. So, that's just not right. I don't think that the pharmaceutical reps should be able to give stuff away. That's I don't know. The FTC needs to look into
Right.
that.
And now they've got so many commercials. I've never seen anything like it. I could be wrong, but I don't think in other countries you see as many pharmaceutical commercials as you see now.
And
Especially
they've
if
all
you
got
watch.
that warning at the end. May cause oily discharge
Yeah.
up to and
Your teeth are
including
going to
death.
fall out, your eyeballs will roll, but,
But your hair will be shiny.
But you don't have dry mouth anymore. What the hell is that? And then you go in and it causes high blood pressure, high cholesterol, your heart to enlarge, or some other kind of crap. You got to go back, you got 4 more medicines to counteract that stuff. See, that's not the way herbs go. Like I was explaining about the claw, and again, I have no stock in, and I'm certainly not a doctor and, all this other stuff. But I have been in the woods with the old goat woman. She said, drink it. I drank it. Whatever was wrong with me went away, and I learned what the hell's in that cup. That's what I'm talking about.
No justice, no peace. I know people that have reversed and stopped, if you want to call that a cure for MS, with a diet change.
Yeah, and this lady right here did.
One of the biggest things you can do, the omega-3s, the oil that's in fish. If you look historically, Asians typically don't get MS, and it's because they have so much fish in their diet.
And there's her name. Maybe one of the mods can find it. It is her last name. It pops right up. She got a YouTube page. Her last name is spelled Apelian. Nicole Apelian, PhD. Anyway, she cured it. And has it completely under arrest with her diet and everything else. And yes, Big Pharma is incredibly corrupt and vile, but curing MS with a diet change, absolutely. Absolutely. Read the book. I'll tell you what, just go watch her free YouTube channel. She's got it on there. She gives lectures and everything else. And you can. And it's not the first story I've heard. I've watched people reverse certain types of autism with certain herbs. What you need to do, you need to pick one thing. You have to do one thing at a time. You must research it. If, say you're taking a high blood pressure medicine and something that might make that blood pressure medicine work too well. So if you're taking an herb that might also be a blood thinner, check with your doctor. There's people in this chat, I won't say who, but have reached out because of an animal or one of their pets were sick. And I said, well, find out and then ask that vet if they know anybody that is works with natural cures as well and alternative medicine, and they might work together. If you're lucky enough, you'll find somebody who does both, because I'm telling you right now, I don't mean anything about doctors. I've seen doctors put my loved ones back together. I mean, take all the pieces, and put people back together. I've seen them do miraculous things, and I've ever hit by a car and my, ass was in Tennessee and my arms were in Alabama. I'd want the med flight and you take me right to, a trauma hospital, because there's none better. None better. But if you have something that's, research it. Start slow, do one thing at a time, and make sure that you balance. It's like herbalists will tell you that, we can send the wind, we can point the direction, but you got to steer your own ship. You're responsible for the wind in your own sails, but there are things out there, like look at my brother, 30 years. 10 years he was doing great. Something started going on with his heart that his family didn't understand, his immediate family, and talked him into stopping it. As soon as he stopped it, things started to go awry. 20 years later, the biggest, and again, I don't know how reputable they are, but they're supposed to be the largest reputable group for arthritis in the United States, recommends it as the #1. So there's stuff like that happens. Look into it. If you have something, by all means. But yes, look into her. You can watch her. I think she's on the 5th season of Alone, and watch her in action. And from the people I hear that have been on there, the preppers and stuff and the survivalists that have been on that show, said that that's one of the shows that they have been involved with that wasn't scripted, like Naked and Afraid, some of these other reality things. And they said that the stuff that happened. So there you go. For what it's worth, maybe it can help somebody. So what do you say we watch a ghost video? Steve and I have talked about this one for a long time. I think it's absolutely one of the best ghost stories I've ever heard. And I bet you already know what it is. Steve can read my mind. It's probably one of the best actors I've ever known growing up. And I still have a hard crush on this guy. But this is... do you remember the Australian show that this was on? This is Telly Savalas, Steve.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the show, but that's one of my favorite interviews ever with anybody.
You guys are in for such a treat.
Favorite celebrity ghost story.
It's a little long. It's it's running about 3-4 minutes, but it's going to go by in a blink of an eye because it is one of them out. And I've read this story. I've read about this story. I've seen this interview with him. I think it's the only time he gave the interview because he was just not. Telly was one of those guys, no nonsense kind of forget about it guys. Greek, wasn't he? Him and his brother.
Yep.
Oh, and played Kojak. Who loves you, baby? So without further ado, here we go. And again, I apologize for the butterflies.
Spokesman for the Players Club International. Remember those ads?
I'm just saying, he had some suave charisma about him,
He could rock a bald head, too. Not every man can do that.
Yeah. Woo. Okay, here we go. Enjoy.
It happened on Long Island, New York, to a very famous man.
Now, what I'm about to tell you is true if you want to hear it.
I do want to hear it.
You do want to hear it, then I'll tell you. I was never superstitious.
I'll give you a ride.
But then something happened in my life.
I'll be right back.
Which scared the hell out of me. And for something like that to happen to me is something that I can't understand to this day. God knows how many years ago. Let me think now. 58, 59. It's a lot of years ago. Now, I just left off a date. Beautiful young girl since left us. And it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going home to Long Island after dropping her off. And as would happen, I ran out of gas. And I go into this White Castle restaurant. I says, is there a gas station open? He says, yeah. He says, you walk through the woods there. He says, get on the Grand Central Parkway, take it to the Cross Island Parkway. He says, and the gas station there open all night. Okay. So I am, start walking through the woods, a wooded area, not the woods. Going up, and as I'm doing that, I hear a voice say,
I'll give you a ride.
I turn around, and there's this guy in the Cadillac. And I didn't hear the Cadillac.
You hear the voice, and what do you see?
I see a guy in a white suit, and I hear an effeminate voice. He say, I'll give you a lift. I said, that's very nice. I said, I'm going to a gas station. We get to the gas station, talking very nice. And I'm fumbling around in my pockets. And he says, I'll lend you $1. Well, I didn't ask him for money. And the truth is, I was broke. And I said, well, look, I says, I work for the State Department, and, well, anyway, give me your name and address, all right? Allow me to mail it to you, because I'm very embarrassed. Anyway, I go there, I get a can, pay for the gas. And we start driving back to my car to put the gas in the car, and I thought that was very nice of him. And then in the clear blue sky, he says, I know, I'm not going to mention the name, I know so-and-so. And it's a baseball player. We weren't talking baseball. Oh, I said, who's he? He says, well, he's a
utility infielder for the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, it's so bizarre that he would say it in the spookiest voice I ever heard. He kept driving, get to my car, put the gasoline in. He pushes me to get it started, My car starts. I thank him very much. All in all, it's a very lovely experience to meet someone to help you out like that. No incident whatsoever. Go home, Go to work in the morning, get out in the afternoon, this headline in the then Journal American. So-and-so dead. The guy he mentioned in that very spooky voice, age 20-some-odd, young, under very mysterious circumstances. Autopsy and all that stuff. I said, God, what a frightening coincidence. I go home and I says, hey, Ma, isn't that funny? My mother, I think, was part witch. I explained it to her. She says, well, yeah, Telly, strange things that do happen. I said, but. And then I remembered that he gave me a piece of paper for me to send the buck to. And I look at it, and there besides the address is a telephone number. Okay. Pick it up and I call the number. Jimmy's bar. Oh, I said, well, can I speak to Mr. Cullen, please? Oh, Mr. Cullen, just a minute. Woman gets on the phone.
Who's calling?
Hi, may I speak to Mr. Cullen, please?
He's not here.
When do you expect him?
Who is this?
I says, well, I was with Mr. Cullen last night, and he gave me this telephone number, and he said I could reach him here. She says,
Look, you son of a bitch. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about my husband, and he's been dead for 2 years.
Anyway, I wouldn't let it go. I did get in touch with the woman again. I did meet her in New York. She came down from Boston. Because, you know, this is a little too much. The clothes I described were the clothes he was buried in. The piece of paper that he gave me signed James Cullen. She brought a letter that he wrote her when he was in the Army. It had Jimmy on that. Outside of that, the signature is identical. There was only one thing that was different. I said, he had a high voice. She said, oh, no, she said. He had a deep voice like yours. Oh. Then it meant he killed himself. This way, right through the voice. Box, whatever. Anyway, this story happened to a guy like me, and as I say, it's been haunting me now close to 40 years.
Okay, guys, can you hear me again? My 5-5? So, if you guys can hear me, because I'm not showing a mic here. But anyway, yeah, Telly. He is not one to make up stuff. But this here, I wanted to show you guys. Ain't something? It's a great story, right? Look at what I got for my birthday. Oop, where we go? See again. Sorry, I have no idea how all that stuff shifted, but I was in a hurry to get this video for you guys right before. I was like doing this at like 7:15, you know, so I was in a hurry, got to load it to YouTube and download. Blah. But look what I got. I got a Gatekeeper hoodie. And I heard some others that have ordered some stuff. I think, Gray, you said you got a t-shirt that came out good. This came out great. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm wearing it right now. Love it. Hey, Donnie's here. Great. Hang on a second, Donnie. And I wanted you guys to see it. But there you go. And the end. I think I'm going to use that little logo from now on. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. And there's the cover art for tonight. This is, I wanted to show you guys this, the microphone. When I was first learning to do layered pictures, to create your own pictures, I took a picture of a glass that you can buy at Halloween, at like the Halloween store, and it's this skeletal hand that's holding this just plastic wine goblet kind of thing. Erased that, found an old microphone, stuck it in the hand, got crispy out there, and that's like one of the very first pics I ever made. But we've got company in here tonight. Let's get this down, and let's get these guys in. Steve is on Molder break. Donnie!
Hi.
Hi, sweetie. How's Toby?
Good.
Things first.
Good.
Say hi to everybody.
Hello, chat.
Say hi,
everybody.
Donnie. So there's that. What did you think of that video? You had seen that before? First of all,
I never heard that one.
Thanks for popping in. Are you aware of Telly?
Telly? No.
Telly Savalas, the guy we just watched.
Oh, Kojak.
Kojak. Okay.
Yeah.
I should have said that. Yeah. He was, I just don't, that generation was just something different, man, and him and his brother, I can remember watching it with my mom. That's how long ago. So 70s, you think? Gosh, when was that out, chat? Kojak. And Edna?
I
know
remember
you were
seeing it when I was a baby.
Thank you, Melissa. It's been the best birthday ever. You saw it when you were a baby. You were watching Kojak when you...
Well, my
Here,
parents
watch
would just
this.
watch whatever.
Oh, wow.
I remember watching, I remember when I was 2, I watched the Incredible Hulk show. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that from, Bruce Banner? David Banner.
David, what was his name? Oh, he was great.
Bill Bixby.
Yes.
And Lou Ferrigno.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know somebody that has a story that they were in an elevator. They might come on and admit it. Stuck in an elevator with Lou Ferrigno at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. Stories, man. But I don't want to say who it is unless they want to admit it. But yeah, and I'm like, well, what did you say to him? Because perfect time, right? Don't hulk out, man. Yeah. Don't hulk out. How would you not say that? I mean, he's probably sitting there expecting. He was probably disappointed nobody said that. Am I right, Donnie?
Well, I saw him in Disney World with his wife and kid, and I was like, wow, his wife looks like this little small housewife, and then her husband's this big giant dude.
Yeah, he is pretty big.
Yeah,
he's a pretty big guy. But to not say that, what an opportunity! It was a lost opportunity. That's something. Yeah. That it's something that. Did you hear that, Steve?
Yeah, I was listening on my phone outside. If
you were stuck in an elevator with Lou Ferrigno, I mean, I don't know how long it was. It wasn't a very long time. It's under an hour, probably. And I don't know if I should say anymore, but I think he was starting to get you had to say it. But then again, I understand too that you didn't want to get hit with it by him either.
Yeah, I met him one time and I forgot he was deaf. At the time, I was working with some friends. We were making a horror movie. Oh. And I had met him at Adventure Con, which was a convention that they had there in East Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
And I was telling him about the horror movie that we were making. I'm all excited. And he's smiling and nodding his head. And then I walked away. That was awesome. My friend said, he's deaf, right? And I'm like, no.
I had no idea. I feel horrible. I have to go. I'm basically, when you said that, I felt terrible. And then I started reversing the conversation to see, did I say anything shitty about him? I was like, because seriously, I don't know why we do that. We should just be kind to everybody, but it does make us feel even worse,
He's not completely deaf, but he's mostly deaf. He can hear a little bit and he can lip read too.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of hulking out, I noticed Steve's got that green background. I'm thinking Steve's
I love it. I'm digging it, baby. I
put that on the other night. I decided just to keep it.
He read lips, Sir Bowden. He
now
said
that Telly interview there that you played, that's one of my favorite celebrity ghost stories. But have you got the other part of that?
Which part? Is there? Did I miss a part?
The part about Dallas.
Oh shoot! I'm not. It sounds so familiar. Can you refresh me?
Well, he had another encounter where he was playing golf, and up on the hill above him. It's the same guy. He yells at him in that weird little high voice, "Hey, Telly."
Yes.
And he said, "Did you hear what happened in Dallas?" And at the time when it happened, it had just happened, the assassination of Kennedy.
100%, Stephen.
Telly worked out the time. He said it had happened within just a minute or two.
Yes.
Of that guy yelling at me.
Standing on the hill with an umbrella.
There's a part of that video where he talks about that.
I'll see if I can find it. I can't do it tonight, guys, but I'll pull it up for next week because, this is one of those stories. It had everything in it. Young man just off a date, runs out of gas, walking with the gas can, because that's what we used to do. We all had gas cans. Our dads made us, gas can in the trunk. And right along with the shovel and the kitty litter or something, wasn't it, Steve? But I think that was part of your rite of passage to get a license and drive back in that day. This had to be the 50s for him.
How many times I've coasted into a gas station.
Yeah, I've been very lucky myself.
In fact, I just make it.
I've been very lucky myself. But there he is, a young man walking down the street. Guy pulls over. I'll give you a ride.
And Telly,
Nice
Telly don't F
conversation.
around. Telly
No,
tells you
man,
something,
that's a
the way
man's
it
man
was.
right there. That's
Yeah.
one suave son of a bitch. I mean, I can remember there was a few people my mom really liked back in the day. And she'd say she really loved Perry Mason. Loved Perry Mason. Really liked Ernest Borgnine. She'd have married Ernest Borgnine if he had come by and said, just, I got nothing. That's enough for me. That's how it would have been. Because Marty. If you haven't seen the movie Marty with Ernest Borgnine. Not Ernest Borgnine. Who am I thinking, Steve? Oh, shoot. Help me, chat. Marty.
I'll look it up real quick here.
Not Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr was Ironside.
Perry Mason.
Perry Mason. Donnie, in case you hadn't noticed, I'm a little stoned. So
Marty was.
It's okay.
feel free to fit in, but I have no pain, and that's very cool. Yeah. Because these storms.
Marty was Ernest Borgnine, a very young Ernest Borgnine. That he's one of those actors that he got uglier the older he got.
The older he got, but so nice. I mean,
actor, yeah.
He played all those great naval captains in, all those old World War II movies. Those the fun ones where they try to make war fun. But man, he was a great character. He's a sweet man. Yeah, Marty was good. It was, but that one and Telly Savalas was another one. I absolutely agreed. He just had this suave, but an honor. He was just, his parents was first generations just from Greece, right, Steve?
Yeah, they were Greek. Him and his brother. His brother was with him on
Greek
Kojak.
weddings and smashing plates and.
His brother was the one with the curly hair.
The curly hair, yeah. He was another officer in the whatever. But boy, that was what, they don't make shows like that anymore, do they?
Love Kojak, but the most unusual thing about that, downtown New York, Manhattan, he could always find a parking spot right outside where he had to go. And we used that when I was a kid. If you went somewhere and there was a parking spot right in front of where you're going, you Kojaked.
You Kojak. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Kojak, there's a spot.
Yeah.
There's magic parking spot falls from the sky.
But, you can park back then, too. I mean, I swear to God, the streets have gotten more narrow because you could park those big old cars in the 70s, those big old Cadillacs and the Pontiacs and the Mercuries and all that and have no problem. Oh, gosh. It's a different time.
Yeah.
It was a different time, man. Cars were cars,
I remember thinking of when we were watching that matinee on Sunday, like looking at all the cars, and I'm like, man, those cars were boxy and wide and long, and took up so much space, and they just looked like rectangles.
I liked them though, because when you had an accident, it was way out there.
Oldsmobile,
the car was a third of a block away. You didn't have to worry about it crunching in on you so much unless it was a head-on with a much bigger vehicle.
But Sir Bowden said New York City is a ghost town today. I believe it, baby. What's going on with your laws in New York City, or the lack of them? What's going down, man?
I was watching a YouTube channel last night called Action Kid, and he gets out of walks all over New York. And he was walking, he walked from about 20-something blocks, I think, last night, went all the way to Times Square. Now, there was quite a few people there. But other than that, there was nobody. It did not look like, it looked like New York in those post-apocalyptic movies, where there's just nobody on the streets.
Escape from New York,
now,
man.
It was late at night.
Here comes Snake Plissken.
But, and it was snowing, but still, it was unusual. I've been in New York starting back in the 80s, and just, the traffic and the crowds. And first time I was there was before the Disneyfication of Times Square. That was still a real rough area with the adult nightclubs and movie theaters and stuff, and you didn't want to go down there at night or down on the barrio. I remember one night a friend and I came out of CBGB's and turned left when we should have turned right. And went farther and had a guy in a gypsy cab like pull up in front of us, block the street, and what are you, crazy? Get in here, get in here, get in here. And took us back to the East Village where her apartment was. He's like, "You guys want to get killed?" He's like, "You don't go walking around down here at 2 o'clock in the morning." But we'd had a few beers at CBGB's and didn't realize we were going the wrong way.
Man, I'll tell you, you could go down there. I mean, I can't. There are times, I mean, Harlem, walking into two places you got no business being at a time you've got no business being there. At 2:30 in the morning, you know, still loading band equipment in the back of an old van. You're not even sure it's going to get you the hell out of there, you know. Oh, God, CBGB's. That nasty, dirty, filthy, godforsaken hole in the ground, man. A lot of great music came out of there, though.
Oh, yeah.
Mario played there. Mario, do you guys remember I told you the name of Mario's old band? They were hard to describe, but they were playing at CBGB's at the same time as the Ramones were coming out, the Dead Boys, and Blondie, believe it or not, came out of there.
Talking
and,
Heads.
yeah. Not the B-52s, but yeah, absolutely, the Dead Boys. And, you know, a lot of bands like us got, you know, lucky on off night. We could go down there and open for somebody. You know, we were just garage band, a lot of leather and a lot of hair. And we'd go out there and we'd be walking the streets trying to just get a burger or a drink or something, and you're going walking down the street and lights, and it's like life, you know, even at night, you know, the city that never sleeps. It had this just air about it. And you take a wrong turn, and all of a sudden all the lights would go out and everything would get gray, and it almost looked like tumbleweed going across the street, but it's garbage, and it's just things get, you know, the sound turns to whispers and the shadows start.
And there
Oh
were
my
places
God.
they tell you walk down the middle of the street if you have to walk through there at night.
Yep.
Don't walk on the sidewalks because somebody will grab you and
Yeah.
pull you into an apartment or building or something. They'll never see you again.
Even the ghosts get
Trippy.
scared in those neighborhoods.
Hi, Trippy Times. How you doing, sweetie? I've been trying to catch some of your shows. You did one tonight. I just really love. So thanks for coming in here. Another one, as we were talking in the beginning of this, with talent and out there putting out podcasts and YouTube, you know, YouTube channel and everything. Another talent. It's just amazing to me. And I'm wondering if it has something to do, Steve, Donnie, whatever you think. Is it because the consciousness level is raised and the artistic is coming out? People are also in these times finding a way, you know, maybe reinventing themselves or taking the time to, I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
I think that's it with all this, with all the lockdown and everything.
It's wonderful.
People that don't normally live that way. I mean, I'm a hermit anyway and stay inside all the time. But people that aren't used to doing that, I think it gave them pause for introspection and to reconsider what's important or what you're interested in, what you'd like to share, what you'd like to talk about and things. And like I've had several people tell me, you know, how the veil gets thin certain times of the year in the fall, late October, early November. I've had people tell me it's been getting that way like all year long for the past couple of years, that more things are happening. There's more paranormal occurrences and stuff than there ever has been. I don't know if it's because as a people, our consciousness has gotten to the point that we're more aware of it, or we're just noticing it more, or if there is indeed a ramp up in activity. I think it's both.
It's happening. It's everything, man. It's CERN. It's the energy now. It's like I said. I'll out and say it's spiritual warfare. If you don't know you're in spiritual warfare right now, just just smack yourself. Hard, man.
I also think it might have something to do with the fact that we're supposed to be, if we haven't yet, we're supposed to soon pass into the age of Aquarius. So we have an entire astronomical age cycling at this time as well. That might have something to do with it. But I do think the veil is like wet toilet paper right now.
It's a phase. Yeah. A good way to put it. Absolutely. It's, you know, was it you and I, Steve, talking about the book that, you know, you have a book, think of an old book with a hardcover, the way they used to make them, and the pages get wet, and you open up the book with all these different layers, and 2 of the 3 pages are stuck together, and you can almost see the words on the other side bleeding through. We're there. It's like that. I mean, that's what I was talking about with these. It's almost like ghost clouds. You know, you could say shadow people, but that doesn't quite do it. That brings a whole nother visual. It's more like a black clouds that I was seeing for the past couple of years. And different different clips, different places, right? And like I said, they're coming up. I didn't see one come up out of the sewer, but it was by the sewer. So I can't tell if it came out another one. It's just running the curb or what. I don't know. But it came over, jumped the sidewalk, little quiet town, probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of the suburb anywhere, and it went up the tree, and as you could see it grab slowly, not quite hands, but definitely appendages, and go up the tree, bounce off of that tree, off the top of another one, across the roof, and then whoop, off into the air and just dissipate, at least out of my sight. Seen stuff like that. I don't know if you guys have, but here lately we're getting a lot of these white glittery cloud things, and I'm not seeing so much of the other. Do you remember the big push in the humanoid creatures that seeing sitting on top of trees and roofs and everything, mostly Chicago, around the Detroit area? All the reports.
Yeah, they were talking about like a new Mothman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Similar, but many.
Yeah.
And you were starting to see, what was that thing, Steve? It was almost like midget frog kind of looking things that would go up in the trees. They were in the trees and all these parks.
Yeah, no idea. There's some new cryptids and things out there, and then some of the old ones are back, and it's like they brought their friends with them. Like Mothman that we were talking about. That was, more or less a couple of time thing that they saw in West Virginia there. And now then they're seeing them around O'Hare in Chicago and in other parts of the Midwest. Makes you wonder, because in West Virginia they considered him sort of a harbinger of things that happened with the Silver Bridge collapse there. Is there something that's on the way? Is there some big calamity that's coming, since we're seeing multiple Mothmen? I don't know. Scary times. Interesting times.
It is. So you've got this thinning of the veil, medium after medium, psychic medium, whatever label, whatever flavor, whatever add-ins, because everybody's different, are all saying, at least I'm hearing, and they're telling me, or I'm hearing of them saying that the veil is effacing. It's just, so I'm wondering if in certain areas these things, like I said, mostly in Chicago, mostly this, are drawn to the negativity. The dark ones are being drawn to the negativity and feeding off of that energy and that fear and the everything, of that vibration, and being called to that. Almost like the cryptid and the entities and everything else, they're having their thing and feeding off of all of this, and they're splitting up. I don't know why I'm seeing more light ones right now, though. Maybe it's just I'm noticing it more. I don't know, but interesting.
You know how a lot of Christians and people of the Christian faith will talk about the return of Jesus. They're looking forward to the day when the Lord shall return and Jesus comes back. Yeah. And one of the things I keep thinking lately is, like, what if he's already here?
Yeah.
Like, what if he came here the same way he came last time? Like, he was born,
that's a possibility.
and he was reincarnated, and he's just, like, walking around somewhere, just, maybe sitting on a curb eating a pizza or something, and nobody knows it.
That harkens me back to thinking about, different scriptures in the Bible that basically says you don't treat everybody, could be an angel. You don't know.
Yeah.
Could be this.
Sometimes
you don't know.
entertain angels unawares.
There you are.
And
Yes.
one of the ones that I keep going back to, and I've
Love
quoted
that.
this on a lot of shows in a talk that I gave at the Conspiranormal convention, but Ephesians 6:12, out of the King James Version, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That's where we're at right now.
Amen.
Spiritual wickedness in high places.
And that's it,
We're
whether
not
we
fighting
believe it
against
or
each
not.
other. It's all of us against whatever's out there vexing us.
Right. And it could be, this is my, my Wiccan friends, my Native friends, my, Hopi prophecy, Cherokee prophecy. I mean, it's everything. It's all the cultures at the same time saying it, and the beliefs.
The white buffalo, that came to pass. There was That's
Yeah.
supposed to
I
happen
heard
during the
about
end
that.
times. The white buffalo's here,
Yeah.
so there you go.
There you go. And I mean, it just also, I've noticed something else though. I really think that, like we say here on the show, think positive. Like Tater said, right? Good brings good, bad brings bad. And if you concentrate on that, what you manifest, you can really bring positive to you. You can kind of change it. It's almost like you go, like back when I was in New York, as some weird leathered up rock and roller, Here I am, some little thing, and I'm out there in Harlem at 3 o'clock in the morning, tripping down the middle of, through all of this darkness and, the things in the 70s. I mean, they weren't playing then either. But, and I was okay. And it's just like, I think if you can manifest it, you kind of carry that with you and you kind of bring positive to you, Especially, I think you can manifest some of this, like almost like you can manifest your own world in a way. Because look at the monks that, like we could talk for hours about the Shaolin priests and the honor and things that mean so much. Very same as many Native American beliefs. Some of the most amazing things, Chad, I've ever seen was being at a powwow, and we do a thing called the trading blanket, right, Steve? You've heard this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting, and the first time you see it, you're watching everybody come in, and they've got their wares, and a blanket goes down, and rule is 1 foot on, 1 foot off, only a knee. So you have one knee on the blanket, and that's the only part of you that's really allowed to touch it. Okay? In the center is a red cloth. And if you have something that we deem as sacred or precious, okay, it goes on the red cloth. The red cloth, usually cotton, blocks negativity and keeps it safe while it's ritual. So if I had an eagle feather, it would definitely go on the red cloth, and I have that eagle feather to trade. So I'd lay it down, and very rare, I assure you, I would lay it down, and everybody around the circle would toss in, not on the feather, but next to it, what they're willing to trade for that. And it goes around until I decide what I'm willing to take. And everybody's up in their ante as they go around. And sometimes they'll really battle back and forth. You'll see all kinds of shit come out. You'll see all kinds of neat stuff. A beautiful leather beaded bag or moccasins or red-tail hawk feathers beaded or whatever. It's amazing stuff. The time everybody went, I saw it 3 times. The biggest shock to me was the 5 tobacco seeds from a tobacco plant that was over 100 years old, and it continued to go. That's what we held as precious. Rock that somebody else would kick down the road turned out to be black obsidian, or it was something else, and it was precious. Your perspective and your vantage point. You know what I mean? What do you think about that, Donnie?
It kind of reminds me,
It's
one of the things that they kind of teach in some of these old school, like traditional esoteric schools, is that the final lesson that you learn is that they teach you to accept the subjective nature of reality. That's kind of like the final lesson that they teach, and what that means is not so much that everything is subjective and everything's just in your head. No, it's just that like different things have different meanings for different people, and you have to accept that. You have to accept that our reality is based on that. I was just thinking about, like, they had these videos of these Shaolin monks who would meditate, right? And they would, one of the things that they would do is they would take these rags or these dried leaves, and they would meditate so hard that the leaves, like in their hands, would burst into flames.
Ooh, yeah.
And when asked how and why they were able to do that, it was because their philosophy was through meditation, you learn to control your chi. And through your chi, you're able to vibrate the molecules so much in your, of the object in your hand that they actually burst into flames, which is kind of like what the idea of Reiki is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have the Reiki, and then, you would have, I have friends in Wicca that could do the same type of thing, the controlling of energy. And it's amazing across the cultures, all the different things, people can do that are similar.
Do Native Americans have a concept of that, of an energy like ki or chi or something like that?
Oh yeah. You're from the great spirit to your spirit, your light. I mean, talk to a sun dancer who would mostly be Lakota Sioux. Sun dancer, whoa. Let me tell you that your whole thing is about mind. Everybody thinks that everybody's on peyote and all this. Not true. Fasting is a big thing because you're changing your body chemical. You're breaking down. So what they do is they take bone and they stick it through your tendon right here in your chest. And they lace leather and they tie you to this, what you would call like a maypole. And you have to lean into it and you have to dance around and you have to continue to do so, and you have to be able to blow this whistle. And you fasted, now you're going to bake in the sun, and you have no water and you have anything else, and you have do all this to have a vision, to balance yourself. But at the same time, there's rituals of coming of age rituals where the young warriors go out to learn how to be a warrior, like you would see in 300. If anybody saw the movie 300, I mean, it was brutal what they went through, and it was
Spartans?
survival. Yeah, it was survival of the fittest, and it was just a different thing, and it was a toughening, and there wasn't a lack of love, but there was a jaded ability as just a whole village of warriors. That's what Spartans was.
There's a really good movie from 1970 with Richard Harris called A Man Called Horace.
Yes.
Have you ever seen that? Where
yep,
he
that's
has
a Sundance.
to go through that to prove his worthiness to become one of them, even though he was an Englishman.
Yep.
But it's really good. And then later, to a lesser degree, Billy Jack did that. Some of those Billy Jack movies too.
Billy Jack. Oh my God! Did I have a crush on Billy Jack
growing up? Yeah, everybody wanted to be Billy Jack.
I stood up in that theater and my little fist went up and tears were down my and the whole to One Tin Soldier. I swear it happened. My mom just let me do it. Didn't say a word. She knew I was there. She goes. I mean, I was like this then too. I didn't care, but that movie just because that was us. It was portray us. That was it. And he was great, and he was a vet, and he was a hero, and he wasn't having it, and it was against racism.
Stood up for those Native American kids that they were bullying and making fun of and stuff.
Poured flour over their faces, horrible. And he just went in there and kicked ass, and then they touched his girl, and he wasn't having that shit.
I'm going to put this foot on that side of your face.
And there's not going to be a damn thing you can do about it. Oh, my
God. Oh, yeah, and then whoosh, and does like a flying roundhouse kick.
Saw it in the theater. I begged my mother to take me to see that movie. Have you seen it, Donnie?
I've never even heard of it.
Start with Born Losers. That was the first one.
Uh-huh. And
you have to remember, I've also never had an ice cream sundae before. Either.
All right, this has to stop, Donnie. This behavior must stop.
Billy Jack Goes to Washington.
Oh, gosh.
There was another one in the works when he passed away.
Yeah.
The woman that played his wife in the Billy Jack movies, that was his wife in real life. And they had another movie planned out, and then he passed away. But those are absolute classics.
I'm gonna have to look that up after this.
And if you've got any Native American blood in you anywhere, it'll make your spirit rise up.
Hey, Cisco, actually,
my spirit rise up.
This reminded me of a question that I forgot to ask you earlier about like Native Americans and the paranormal. Did they ever tell you anything about the Watchers? Do you know what those are? Have you heard of those? Like those giant skyscraper-sized like ghosts that they've apparently seen like outside, like in the West, like in California.
Not specifically that, no.
They're like three-story tall ghosts. They're like giant things.
My goodness.
and they're when they ask like these Native Americans in that area about them, they're like, oh yeah, we know what they are.
I wouldn't doubt it, Donnie, but I swear I've never heard of that one. But have you, Steve? That's amazing. I don't doubt it for a second.
Stuff mentioned in the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, it's confusing because they use the term watchers for different things.
The Aryan, I think, was what they were called in Aramaic, and they were dispatched to Earth to watch over the humans. But they're big, and that's what they do. They watch.
Yeah, they just watch.
Yeah,
and there have been sightings of them, just like up on the hills, just like watching. They're like 3 stories tall.
Oh my goodness!
They just sit there and watch.
About them in the Book of Genesis too. Let me look at this real quick.
Here's
described as a group of fallen angels described in the biblical Apocrypha who mated with women, giving rise to a rise of hybrids known as the Nephilim, called giants in the Book of Genesis 6:4. So,
Sir Bowden says, I've seen the Watcher in person in the woods. Well, Bowden, you're going to have to come on and tell us that one.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that one, Brian.
Why doesn't he come on right now?
Him, did you?
Why don't you send him a link? Yeah,
you want to come on, Bowden, and tell the story?
I want to hear about that.
He's a lot of times he's very busy with his family. He takes on a lot. He's a wonderful dad. Very involved. He's a great guy. So I don't, if he can't pop in, I understand. Awesome. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard there was some connection with some Native American tribes and watchers, and it was interesting that they call them watchers as well.
And Laura said she's seen him too. So there you go. I mean, and Trippy Time said that was great about the synchronicities being the universe winking at you. I love that, Trippy Times. And Star People too. Yeah. So much. We were told a lot. Most of the time, what I think my grandmother was referring to was Bigfoot, Sasquatch, never by name, by description, by the fact that she felt it was a very spiritual being, that it could go in and out somehow. But me being 6 and 7 didn't think to say, hold up, back up, wait a minute. Can you repeat all that? Let me write this down. Are you talking about Bigfoot? How big are we talking? And write
what
all
you
this.
Talking about, Willis?
It wasn't that kind of thing. It was, you got what you got when you got it.
Do you prescribe to the theory that a lot of the spirits that are referred to by Native Americans are also elementals that people in the paranormal community refer to, or like in Wiccan cultures?
I think a lot of it intertwines, wouldn't you say, Steve?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think they're one and the same?
Same legends. They have legends about the Fae. They have legends about Bigfoot. They have stories of all kinds of different. The Yunde to Sunday, which is their version of fairies. And it's people that they warred with and then eventually made peace with, but they avoid each other.
Oh, okay. Hang on, I got to send Bowden a link and tell us the story about the...
he's coming on, nice.
He can take my spot. I'll stay a few more minutes, but I got to get dinner and get ready for my show at 8 o'clock. So I'll stay for a few more minutes.
Okay, cool. Let me get this to him.
That's a great link that Jackie Canella just put in the chat there.
We're almost out of here anyway.
Giants in America and Native American Indian Bible prophecy.
Oh, that looks like something I'm going to want to read.
Pop in, honey. Pardon me while I take some of these other videos off of here. So that moves all little squares. The things that go on behind the scenes, guys. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Hang on one second. That way when Bowden comes in, it'll pop right up. But the little people, fear and respect them. Yes, Aunt Edna. And Jackie's dropping Giants in America and Native American Indian. There's so much. Most of the time I just got a warning, or there's certain things we don't talk about because, when you talk about them, they connect into your energy. Don't talk ill of... Everything is a different way of looking at things, just like any culture, that respects nature or tries to respect nature, trying to keep tradition alive, that kind of stuff. But then there's all of these... Every different village had its own way of doing things, and nobody's set to a set thing. Of course, most people realize that if we destroyed the nature around us or fought with nature and we didn't live in balance with it, we'd pay for it. We'd be extinct,
Yeah.
Now, that things got switched on us, just like in everybody, everybody else. Everybody got changed. Progress happens, and, shit gets shifted and people get shit on. There you go. Every culture. Here he comes. Ta-da! Where you at, Brian? Thanks for popping in.
I'm in my crappy kitchen right now. I've been looking for stuff. We had dinner, and
yeah.
I don't have a backdrop on it.
That's
so
okay.
You see a lot of mess.
It's okay. Tell us the story. Steve said he'd stay for it for a minute.
Yeah, so I was 2015. We did a day-night investigation upstate New York, and I think I've talked about it once before. But we had a Bigfoot encounter. Then after that was over, we had a UFO that came in, and we had missing time for about 2 hours. And then at one point, when we realized that being back at a next location, one of the things that our psychic mentioned is that you're going to be surrounded by what she called the guardians of the forest. So they're going to be gnomes there, the fairies, fae. They're going to be Native Americans or indigenous, and the watchers. And the watchers were the ultimate of it. And these are all working in tandem with each other. We were being watched and observed. And I remember it like it was yesterday, because you would see these little people initially just going darting back and forth between trees really, really quick. And what was interesting, the guys I was with, they got it on video. Well, we thought we did, but apparently there was, when they went to review the actual SD card, nothing was there.
Yeah.
But they did see it on the actual, I jerry-rigged like a separate monitor to the actual video camera. So you could see it. We all saw it. You saw these little things. They looked like gnomes. There was gnomes. They were fae. And then as you looked back, they didn't appear, but you saw this really, really tall. You saw these, I would say, large Native Americans that were just standing there. They didn't say a word. And they were taller than most. They were like 8 feet tall. And then behind them that surrounded them were almost, I was going to say, it kind of felt like they were cloaked, almost like wearing a giant tunic. But you'd look up and they were massive. And it was very reminiscent of, if you've ever seen people in like the hooded, a hooded cloak. And it was a blacker than black cloak. And they were just no expression, just staring right at us.
Oh, jeez.
And what was interesting is I actually remember seeing them, but no one else caught it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you see the bigger ones? Do you see the bigger ones?
How big were the bigger ones?
About 20 feet tall or higher.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's how big I heard.
Towered. So they were double the size of what I would call the natives. And it was really interesting because the natives that I saw in the woods, it was like a variety of nations there. So you had like what looked like Iroquois, you had what looked like Cherokee, what looked like Navajo, and you had it from someone who would be just a one feather in their community, their clan, and I saw chiefs like huge headdresses, but it was muted because it was at night. This is at midnight almost.
Brian, was this?
Yeah.
Where was this?
This is upstate New York in Beacon, New York, in the woods.
Okay.
And actually,
that's there's a gathering spot there.
Well, there's many.
But there's a gathering spot there where many meetings. I stood in one over not too far from this area,
right,
over Rainbow Bridge, where all, as you describe, standing around. You may have walked into that ground like that, and you're seeing what you guys don't know too is Brian is an extremely accomplished remote viewer, and he's one of those guys. So I think you walked into, it would appear to you like it was happening right then. Do you think you walked into a time thing, or?
No, well, there was missing time in that because we heard there's 3 of us. It's like 10 to 12
I got
at night.
goosebumps. Yeah.
And we hear this family walking down the Appalachian Trail. It's off the Appalachian Trail. And it's like, it literally was a family. We heard kids and like parents. And I'm like, we turned like, hey, let's turn the lamps on because there's 3 of us. We have machetes. We don't want to scare anybody. And the thought in the back of my mind is, who the hell is taking their kids out in the Appalachian Trail at 12 midnight on Halloween? It's just not happening. So eventually when we got in touch back with our psychic, who's in Arkansas, mind you, she said, no, what you experience is a rip in time space. Those people will be there tomorrow or the next day at that point. But what was very interesting is I don't think I walked into anything. When we got on that investigation and we started about 3 in the afternoon, as we're walking the mile to get from the point where it opens this park up and it goes to the initial opening, this lake area before we had to trek another 2 miles. I kept catching stuff. I kept feeling it and catching peripheral vision. We were being watched by, I'm going to say Sasquatch and other things that were there. And I think it was the watchers because this was the oddest thing. You ever see those moments in movies where you get a wooded scene, usually a magician, a movie or magic or whatever, and you see somebody walk past the tree and then you just see their cloak and nothing comes forward? That's what it was like. And I'm like, and I told him from the go, I said, dude, we're being watched right now. But this thing was a lot bigger. It was bigger than what a Sasquatch would be. So we're talking about something seriously 20 feet tall minimum. And you didn't see anything but like this part of their face, right here. And the cloak was over it. And it was just, it would have been really ominous if you walked up on it, but for some reason, because we knew we were going to meet these individuals and they were watching us from the beginning, I felt actually better at certain points being there than other places. I felt like we had some form of protection. They were very curious about what we were doing. But something very interesting is one of the persons that was on the expedition, I didn't find out about this until later on from our psychic. They did not want him there whatsoever. And it just so happens that when certain events took place, especially with the Sasquatch bluff charging, and it went after him and not me or my other buddy. So they know your intentions when you get there.
Of course. Absolutely.
But it was,
probably before you ever get there. Steve, are you good to go? I know you got to bounce out of here. You got a show in 5 minutes, don't you?
Yeah, well, no, it's like in an hour, but I got to eat dinner and put the show together.
Yeah, you got to eat dinner and stuff. But I just didn't want, I know you're riveted and I was watching the clock for you.
I'm going to bounce though, but Brian.
I just wanted to give you an out there.
I want to hear some more of this. I'm going to listen while I'm getting
ready.
Are you?
Not a problem.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
So it sounds
love
like,
you, baby.
Thanks, sir.
It sounds like,
see you later.
Night, Steve. Be
I feel
blessed,
bad
babe.
about all the mess.
No, it's okay. And Deader here is saying that's exactly what I saw during my trip. And somebody else was asking, and Edna, what color was the cloak? Was it just dark?
It was dark. I mean, I'm going to say it was black.
Okay.
It was a black cloak. Now,
see, I'm getting them with the black cloak, no face, but the highly telepathic, and from distances, yards. I mean, one described probably half a football field. That's pretty daggone far. Think back in high school, right? That's far. And this thing up on a pole knew when he was thinking, he connected into it, and he went, holy shit, and it turned and looked at him. This was multiple stories.
I should have, because I am an artist, but I never thought to draw out what I saw. So I'm going to actually draw this because I think it's very interesting. Pull in Amy. Get a police sketch artist. Mr. Bowden, is this what you saw?
So do you have any theory as to what these guardians or watchers are?
Well, it's complex because if you read the Book of Enoch, I think you're talking about 2 different things. Because
everything's waking up, man.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different types of watchers out there. There are these Cardian type of watchers that their mission is to just bear witness And that's what the Watchers are in the book of Enoch. You have to understand something here, and I don't want to screw around with anybody's religious belief, but you have to understand how God always works. And how these divine things work is God always needs a witness. It's the strangest thing. They get somebody to witness what's going to take place. I never could understand why that was the fact, but I think it's so that they can report back.
The beings that stand with you, because if you put that together with like I said, a lot of NDEs, reincarnation, one side and then the other, it's like this. If you put it together, eagle eye view, okay. Right. And we're not just sure what happens right here. You hear that, you're basically, you can manifest once you get to your frequency, whatever vibration you go out on. If you're in a higher vibration, you're going to be able to manifest basically what you want. You want to go fishing? Right. You want to sit in a penthouse and drink whatever. Whatever. You're manifesting it, and it can change. And I heard the other day, probably from my 8th, 9th source, that says that they say that they can just think of it and they can taste chocolate cake. They can imagine how it tastes and they can feel the whole thing. They can't actually eat chocolate cake and get it, but it's just they manifest it. Right. So I think ghosts, when they come, before they go, have a little bit of that, not the tasting and stuff part, but the manifesting, trying to work it out. They say once you pass over, others are there to help you get your spiritual footing. Right. Beautiful way to put it. So all of this still connected, but there's rules somewhere along the line. Why do you have to invite this? Why do you have to have a crack in your aura and invite certain things that come in before they can do this, this, and this, but they can't do this, this, and this? Where's this rule book?
So I think it's God's rule, because so evil. There's a lot of dark and evil things over here before God created man. And that's a fact. That's in the Holy Michael prayer. Holy Saint Michael, the Archangel, defend in battle.
And in other cultures as well. Right. They just call it other things.
Cultures, when God created here, and when his first, which was the light bearer, got pissed off because Dad gave us more love than him, that's when that divine evil was created. Whatever. But these Watchers are literally like God's internet and telephone. They see everything. And if I'm correct about this, they report back to only one individual or entity, and that is maybe Metatron, and that's a totally different ball game.
But Native American has the same type thing to the Great Spirit. There are Watchers, and in some cases it's almost like the explanation of that, what you would say would be Watchers, is just a different visual. It's a larger glowing being, probably in the same type of regalia that they would be accustomed to, or on horseback as a warrior. I mean, it's just like it's all the same, and they're watching for the same purpose. I'm not here to get involved. I'm here to observe.
What was really strange about this, and which was, because I studied, one of the things I studied for a couple of years is I was very much into I studied history of the North American Indian peoples, okay? And I was very much into it because my father always believed his mother was Native. And there's so many characteristics that will say yes. We don't do that 21andMe, whatever. I don't need that crap, and I don't need anybody buying my DNA. That being said, what was very intriguing about this is it wasn't just the Watchers there. There were the Watchers, and then there were these, like Bigfoot. They were there. They were just, it kind of like, encircled us. And then next to them were these larger Indians. And then to them, it was some of the elementals of the forest and different elementals. Then
it's all there, man. It's all there. And I think they're showing themselves to us in ways. Some people are getting to see them more and more and more. And it's this whole veil is effacing thing, and the thin, we keep hearing thinning of the veil, in and out. I can't explain that. But the dead are coming back and telling us about it too. You know, that
Well,
if you don't feel the pull, somebody in here, I forget who was asking what is spiritual warfare? Spiritual warfare is going on around you whether you know it or
Right
not.
now.
It just is. And I don't care what you name it. So good versus evil.
Right.
Whether you call down angels to help battle your demons, or you call down your ancestors to help you, you know, whatever you're calling energy, the four directions, whatever you want to call it, there is dark is dark got a stronghold,
Yep.
and light's had enough. And I believe that there are people who volunteered to come back during this time,
Yep.
to carry a light during this time, to pull other people up during this time. And if you don't know that there's chaos in this world right now, I'm not giving it a name or saying it's chapter of Bible or saying this person made this, that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying your physical energy. I was speaking to Bill Bean years ago and said, Bill, I feel the crawling. He says, what do you mean? A black fog is crawling across. It's like the world is making a fist. And this is it. We're in a fight of our lives, you know, to continue to keep the light on. So keep the light. If all you can do, it's like a candle in the wind, you know, secure that, if your own candle flame, your own light, because you're going to need it to, that's your battle. And it goes with manifesting your own surroundings and your own everything. We're talking about putting out good to draw good. You know, you can have, look, a bad day that's shitty,
Right.
and I'm big in comparing things, like the guy that worked at, you know, this is a shitty job, but it's not as shitty as the guy who worked the same square foot of real estate for 28 years shucking oysters, you know, and was glad to do it, was happy he did it. You know, it's like, how do you, your perspective, you know, I think you can change that. And I think that's another thing that the watchers, and whether they're, you know, look like Cheyenne dog soldiers in the glints in the woods. I think a lot of people are not just coming back to watch and go to wherever and report back, but I think there's also multiples. There's spirit guides are wide awake. People are telling me now that they're connecting in spirit with over the holidays and reaching out in love and getting responses back. I got boom, 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 boom. I can't tell you how many just this week. For my birthday, it's like everybody took a turn and did something. It was mind-blowing. And everybody's telling me that. They're connecting higher consciousness. Maybe they're decalcifying the pineal gland. I don't know. Meditating more.
Iodine.
Whatever. What did you say?
Iodine for that.
Iodine. There you. Oh yeah.
Go buy iodine drops. But one of the things I want to say about what's going on right now is
cleanse it.
I can't explain it how I know.
Something's up.
It's. I don't want to get into that. It's things that I do. But this is a purposeful time. People that don't even know that they are a light worker and they have these abilities are being tapped. You got to hear the dreams people are telling me. I'm like,
yes.
And people that can handle it, I go, you know, you're a light worker, right? And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'll explain later, you know.
Yeah,
but
and people misunderstand that. Explain what a light worker to you is, Brian. And I want to ask you, Donnie, what you think. Because everybody in here has a different vantage point of what they think a light worker is. You know, it's almost like the movie Soul, and then I'll shut up. These little things, it was basically look like gumballs with feet. And they had to find their purpose. And before they could go reincarnated to earth and become somebody. Everybody had purpose misunderstood. Your purpose might, you know, not be being a nurse or being this or being a lawyer or a cab driver. It's your spark. It's your spark. And I think we're all finding our spark. And our lights are coming on. Our lights are coming on. And they see it and they're drawn to it.
Right. It's what's intuitive to you, whether you like it or not. You know, you may have wanted to be a basketball star or a rap star or whatever, but your intuitive nature as a light worker could be that you're a healer. Another one could be a conjurer. You know, they conjure things in defense. They're conjurers for positive stuff. Conjuring is not a bad thing. It's been used in bad contexts. There are other people that are warriors. that. Well, I said that's like such a New Yorker. Warriors. That was so bad.
Hey, I'm
But-
from Jersey. We're all New Jersey
Right,
and New York
right.
here.
So you know,
Are you saying warriors like warriors come out,
Come
and
out to
play?
play. Yeah,
or
kind of
or are you
like that.
saying worriers like, you know, oh
no,
my God.
warriors.
Oh, okay.
People don't
Come out.
realize how much power they have because their entire life has been lived in a moment where that dark
So
side,
true.
that negative side, has put
Yep.
them down so much that they can't even believe in themselves. And something that is taking place, you don't know how many stories and accounts I've heard of entities, spirits, old family members. They are purposely coming back to this time
Yep.
because something big is going to happen. And I
Yep.
think this is the big show, and it's
Yep.
getting worse, but it's also getting better. I think
Yep.
that divine
You see the light.
intervention, people praying to a God,
Yep.
no matter where you what you
The
are,
good
call
side
him
needs a
Allah,
little help.
Jesus,
That's
whomever.
all. Yeah.
I think some
Absolutely.
of
As
those
long as
prayers
it's
have been
positive,
answered.
babe.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you
That
got to
is
understand
true.
something. 99% of the time when God has taken action, he's destroyed everybody, the good and the bad. And this time around, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he gave a big old FU to a lot of people recently because there's something that's coming out that's a variant of something, and I'm leaving it the way it is. And that was done purposely to stop the BS and people being put into a space that they can't be, with something,
There's a lot of good
whatever.
going on, and
But,
I see
yeah.
it. I see it. I see it. I
But-
see the light peeking through, but I think it has something to do too. And then I'm gonna ask Donnie that people dug down and they found out who they really were. They spent time with their kids. They stopped a minute. They took a breath. They started to see what was really important. People were this. They were just looking down like, zombies looking at their phones. They couldn't help it. People working so hard just to pay the bills, and the water kept boiling and boiling and boiling. And, you get home, you watch a little sports, you watch a little show, a little reality TV. Did you
And
do
they
your
take
homework? And that's it. And, we let other people raise our kids. It may have been for great choices. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying I had to make those choices, and I said, I can do without this. I'm a parent first, by God, And if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. I didn't take handouts. I worked. That's why Donnie was saying, well, what are you doing then? Well, I was a bartender, and I was this, and I was this. He was like, what?
Yeah.
But that's what you do, But you dug down and you find out who you are. And
Right.
that's your spark, and you spread it around. You're a gatekeeper, and you spread the spark. Donnie, what is your spark?
One
ahead.
second, Donnie. I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
I had to add one little thing here. So the secret to everything, including the paranormal, this is my research and opinion, is frequency, which begets vibration, which begets consciousness. And once you have those three, it will take you to where you really need to be. And once you vibrate at a higher frequency and you get better consciousness,
See things differently.
this little stuff down here does not bother you.
No,
you
man,
know that when
it's-
people pass over, they're in a better spot than you
You're
are.
like you're floating, man.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you, Donnie? That's beautiful, man. Beautiful.
I remember when I first started getting into the paranormal and reading about all like the different stories and entities. I used to think to myself, okay, so ghosts are real, demons are real, monsters are real, serial killers are real. Why are there no superheroes? I used to get annoyed at that thought, actually.
Well,
Like
maybe
you hear
they
about
are.
you hear about the dark evil stuff, but you never hear about why does this world not deserve a Justice League, right? So when I think about what a light worker is, well, first of all, it's a little hard to define because the work varies. There's a bunch of different things that need to be
Beautiful.
done. But when I do think of the idea of a light worker, you start to think, oh, superheroes actually do exist. They just have
Beautiful.
to. They just
You're
have
the
to recognize
superhero.
their power.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
You're
We're
the
all
hero.
superheroes. That's beautiful. My God, that's gorgeous. I love that so much because we dug down and we found that we went through these. If you think about the origin stories and things like that happen, and I'm no comic book, aficionado or nothing, but I own a couple Spectres, so, and I did raise boys. So the thing is, the origin stories, tragedy, drama, death, rebirth, catastrophe, radiation, spider bites, all those things that changed. We've all kind of gone through that this past couple of years, if you think about it. And our worlds have been shifted, our jobs have been changed, our priorities have shifted big time. And Annette, I agree. We do have to work 3 jobs to pay the bills. It's gonna, look at the grocery stores right now. It's getting worse, but you find that you can do out with little. It's almost like a slow bug out. When you're bugging out, no fucks left to give. You grab the bag, what you prepared, and you're gone. And you're gone in the right direction that you have to be in. We've all kind of gone through that. I mean, the people in California right now, tsunami, maybe it wasn't as bad as it could have been, absolutely. However, it's bad enough for those people right there on the edge. It's your vantage point. We sat here for months looking at La Palma, because if that baby went... Telling you what, East Coast, right? So you got to figure, what are you taking? Where is it? How much warning are we going to get? You really start prioritizing, and you look back and you go, I can only do this. I can only take this. I might be coming back, might not. I mean, those are the times we realize what's really important, And I mean, I couldn't maintain a fancy house and 2 cars. I rode around in a piece of shit for years, and I have absolute witness to that. I mean, I didn't have a heater, I didn't have windshield wipers, I had the hanger, I was doing this, and I was driving 38 miles to a job that overworked me and underpaid me, and added a couple more. And then you look back and you go, what am I fighting for? The warrior inside, we learned to battle just to keep our heads above water, and the warrior inside sometimes has to stop and look back and make sure you're not just caught up in the battle, but what you're fighting for is still worth it, and you prioritize. And that's what we've been doing for 2 years, slowly but surely, against our will and of our free will, due to circumstances beyond our control.
Right.
We found ourselves, we readjusted, we adapted, we overcame, and we became teachers to our children. We became, whatever our situation. We've lost jobs, we've lost loved ones, we've been afraid, and then we've got to the point where we're just like, fuck it, I want to enjoy this time right now. And pardon my language, but it's a serious situation. I had people in here saying, I don't know what spiritual warfare is. Just because it's spiritual warfare has zero to do with religion. So, if you're seeing the things around you, if you're working against, cussing out that coworker because you're enlightened and these things, and you try to do your best, and you see a friend hurt and the way out, like we were talking last night with the medium, and you're helping and you're using your skill, your wisdom, and your gifts and your abilities to help and lift somebody up. That's why we're gatekeepers. Our animals do that for us. Nature does that for us. The light does that for us. Your spirit guides, your angels, your loved ones, your ancestors, all of them do that for us. And we've proved it time and time and time and time and time again on this show. And now we're seeing more cryptids, more different things we can't explain, right, Bri?
Yep.
Donnie has brought in so much enlightenment to, and he said this to me, so into the Asian community, he said, he said, where's all the, the Asians? Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of Asian people in the paranormal YouTube. But the thing is, when you watch it, everybody has a different way they approach these things. Some pray, like I see a lot of people in Iran and Iraq and stuff. Fantastic paranormal investigators who go to a place I would never go, but they pray at the stuff and they keep going in. Where
Yep.
I've seen in some in China, they curse, don't they? Is that the way to get rid of curse? That you curse at it, like take a stand, and are you aware of that being done in any of the countries you've been to?
Well, I know that there's some like mystical like kung fu masters who have these meditative practices where they build up their chi, and their idea is like once you build up enough of it, you can literally go up to a ghost and punch it in the face.
Wow, interesting.
Because you're vibrating at a frequency that
Your
becomes
frequencies change. Yeah.
you just been able to go from the physical
Wow.
to the metaphysical. It's kind of hard to explain, and it gets really crazy. And like I said, it involves quantum physics. But
I'm not going to say it here, and you know, Bri, if you think about it, because you'll know. But I'd rather not say his name on here because he's such a private dude. But Donnie, I shared something with Donnie, and I was trying to explain because I can't remember all the names of the different martial arts. I just sent him pictures. He's like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you he's a badass." But he's a very gentle, he's a very, very minimalistic. If you go into this man's house, there's no pictures on the wall. Everything is very absolutely necessary and orderly and simplistic. And he's also a wonderful musician, and when you sit with him and he says things, it's almost, he's also I'd say almost 26 years service, so he has that whole soldier, that whole self-control, that whole inner peace kind of thing going on, and it's just the light around him is amazing. The energy around him is amazing. And I've seen him mad, and it still doesn't change. It gets brighter. But it doesn't change. You know these people. And you guys in the chat, you've probably been around people like this, where you just walk in and you take your vibration in, and it's like nothing can be around that negativity. These people that are just yammering with gossip and all this other stuff, and they come at you with all this negative. Oh, you won't believe what she did today. I'm not on the schedule again. And look what she did. And they just hit that thing, and they go, and they just walk away. They don't even say, I forgot what I was going to say or anything else. They just leave. You've done this, bro. I know you have. It's amazing.
Yep. When you start
we are
moving,
superheroes, yes.
When you start moving in a different frequency and vibration, so much stuff goes away. And honestly, yeah, we all have stuff that we want to have. I got a guitar, a couple of guitars and whatever. But the bottom line is, my children are good. Wife's good, and I'm okay. I'm good.
Making it through.
That's all that matters right now. So that if we lost, I got a lot of stuff here, but I would grab like the important stuff, like documents, your passport, anything.
Bug out bag.
Yeah, just on your bag.
The bug out bag.
Because if you lose everything, you're gonna have to replace your wallet, your license, your whatever. You need ID in real world. But
Talk
the bottom
to the people
line
in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Never had
exactly.
Didn't have a chance.
Yesterday
Seconds.
in Florida.
Yeah.
Down in Florida, they got pummeled, and I watched that. I want to say this again, and I'm not here to freak people out, but California and the West Coast got a very big warning yesterday, and I've talked about this for 2 years already. There is going to be an event that's going to it's going to be very bad, in my opinion. Again, the future's fluid, but if you live on that West Coast, I'm imploring you right now to have a bug out bags ready to go and a plan to get the hell off the coast. And I'm talking like 50 to 75 miles away from that coast. And I know it's going to be difficult, but yes.
There's been a lot of things. I'll tell you, people might not be aware, but we talk about a lot here in the chat about energy and combined energy. You have to understand, again, a whole nother view. And now you guys weigh in as you see fit here. But this is my vision, my view of what's going on and what I'm collecting here. There's also a level of not just ethereal beings and elementals and God's warriors, angels, whatever. Like I said, everything you can imagine, including, I would consider, large groups of aliens, because not all aliens are good, not all are bad, not all have the same agenda. Consider that. Consider that. At the same time, there are human beings on the earth, as Donnie said, like almost like superheroes, that have abilities, be it so minor, what you would call just intuition and good intent. Start there. That's a basic. Up to people that have learned to control their energy, much like Donnie and Brian are saying, balancing your chi, learning how to harness energy, learn how many times have you seen movies or people doing this and creating an energy ball and just...
Yep.
It doesn't take long to be able to do that. I learned to do that in about 3 days, very much like Carol last night was saying. You go to class and you sit there and you sit with other people. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, go to a development class like Carol gives. I'm sure Brian has many places, he could direct you to. Many people in this chat could as well. But everybody's doing it with Zoom, and it's you. So if you find how you want to use your energy, whether it's teaching and helping or whatever, healing, Reiki, all of that, because there are groups of people that have come together and combined that energy, remote viewers, moving weather. You may not think it's possible for a large group of people in sync to move a storm. Because if you look at it the other way, evil can do it.
Yep.
So why do we honestly think that back and forth? Like this one could do it, this one can. Energy's energy. Knowing how to use it is, it just goes with your culture and your belief and whichever walk you're doing. Because I don't care if you're Native American or, in a village in Africa, an island nobody even knows about, Amish, in that group, everybody's got something. The Dutch, this, that, Italians, everywhere you look, every culture. And it all has to do with energy. They just go about it in different ways. Like in the book, Donnie's just now reading Cabin 22. Perfect example, Brian. Brian is all through that book. You can see that now, right, Donnie? Told you most of it was true. But, that's why I did that, in the combined. Everybody in there combined together and came to one place with their beliefs, their intent, their light, and fought a great evil.
Yep. It's
Spiritual Justice League.
Yeah, spiritual justice.
That's a lot of people are that too. It's just everybody in here has it.
A great way for people to get started to change their energy for the better is, and it's going to sound a little bit odd or crazy, be creative.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I'm not kidding. Be creative.
Yep.
Take a pen to paper, draw something. Take art, paint it, watercolors, write a poem.
Make jewelry.
No, don't just make jewelry.
Start a podcast.
Use
edit. Tell
use
stories.
These to create. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a sorbet to life. Yep. And then you're gonna be like, once you start getting happy or like, wow, this is great. And don't listen to anybody. There's always going to be someone like, oh, that looks like crap. You know what? No one started off being perfect. It's a stepping stone, and then you'll get better. But you'll also
just do it.
Creative work may be something that helps somebody to smile.
Yep.
And once you smile, it's just like a snowball.
And that's why art is so good. That's why creativity is so good. So many people crafting. I don't care if you're crocheting or music. I teach. I've taught many art classes in many different directions.
It's like the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi said. He said, if you want to learn the way of the sword, you should also learn how to paint and do poetry.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And I'm sure Sun Tzu's got something like that too. I mean, you look through it, and I bring it up all the time with Kane and Kung Fu. It sounds like such a crappy, 70s show, but the Shaolin priest and the way and the gentleness of it reminds me of the things I was taught by the Native Americans and the Cherokee and the Creek and the Arapaho and one beautiful Sunday morning Navajo. The same thing, but had different words and different gestures for it. It's beautiful, and I think we all have that, and I love that about when you're doing art. When I'm making jewelry, it's like when I'm writing, I'm all over the place. I think this is probably my last trip in. I know, Brian, you and I have talked about this. We feel both the same way, stuff that we've done. I don't want to do this again. But I think I want to try things. It's like you remember, I have this obsession with being a blacksmith, or making candles or making soap the old way. Or
glass blower. I got to be honest, I wanted to always blow glass.
Isn't that crazy, man?
No,
you know what? I can go back and back. Do you have that, Donnie? Do you have any, what you would consider... It could be put in the category of a genetic memory or soul memory or a bleed through from another life or something like that, where like maybe a phobia. Phobia is same thing.
I used to, when I would go to sleep, I used to clutch the middle of my chest, like right in my sternum, because I've had this memory of being impaled by a javelin or a spear right there.
Wow.
And every time I see like an image of a javelin or spear or like a sharp pointy object, I kind of like cover up the middle of my chest right here. And in that spot, there's like this one dead area where it's like a pimple that will never go away. There's always like a little bit of pus coming out. My ex-girlfriend would always try to pop it.
That's typical, though, of, a story. A little boy fell out of a building. He landed on the side of his head, lost his hearing in this ear. They couldn't figure out why. And as he dealt with his past life memories and said goodbye to that person and became more of him, his hearing came back. Multiple with birthmarks. Mine, I can't stand anything around my neck. I was hung as a witch. I was guaranteed I was hung as something. I was burned as a witch at least twice. Because my push for herbs and the fight for, I mean, just to keep that tradition and to keep people understanding you can heal yourself. You can heal yourself with energy, with mindset. You can heal at least, you can't sew on an arm with energy. I don't know. I don't want to say that because I've seen some shit. but what I mean is you can will yourself to heal. You can will yourself to die. Both are true. Dark and light, both are true in everything.
Something interesting is I don't really have those fears like Donnie, like with you with the sword and kind of like gets to you.
It's specifically spear. It's like not even a knife or a sword. It's specifically spear.
Something I've been able to do since I could remember is I get to experience whatever it was in the past with me. And I get to experience this when I go to bed. And it's very interesting. So just so you know that when you have a dream, you don't remember much of it. And it's very vague. And you're like, oh, there was like, this was there and a dog was here and whatever. When you go through an experience and you can come back that morning and every day thereafter and tell you all the fine details of what the walls looked like and felt like and the coloration and the smells and whatever. You're not having a dream. You are actually experiencing it. That's what I've found. And I can do that numerous times.
Yeah,
I can tell you, I have seen the skyline of Manhattan obliterated. It looked like Hiroshima. Smoke coming up from ruins. The whole entire thing. And I had it when I was younger, and I had it probably no more than 4 years ago. Again. And
so many.
Yeah.
We have to do a whole show on reincarnation. I've been watching The Ghost Inside My Child. Unbelievable stuff. I said in the beginning of this, I think it was this episode, I was talking about the little girl, multiple issues all the way through, drawing pictures with crayons of aerial views of the island she lived on that just happened to match when they looked it up. As if that's not enough, she goes to sleep 3 or 4 years old, downloads hieroglyphics. She's just writing them. and say it. Okay, this is a pineapple. This is a this. This is a house. This is. What 4-year-old can do that? Just story after story after story. Luckily enough, the parents, thought to, sometimes there was one reluctant one. It's like, not in my house, no, I don't believe in this stuff, but most of the parents saw through, and all the children who were able to talk about it and able to maybe go to the place or go to a museum where this person might have, had some information on who they thought they were, and getting validation after validation, they let it go and went on to be themselves. It's credible. But I think we all have a little bit of that, whether you believe it or not. It's like I say, these are what I believe at this time. It's really only theory. Some of it's spitball, and some of it's hope. Some of it's just amazement. There's no experts here. We're all just trying to put it all together, figure it out. And all we can do is we can tell you what works, because we've seen some things, but we're also learning from each other. And I bet a lot of you have, since you're here, have found those things that crafting, like Brian says, you don't have to listen to other people, anything else. How you tell is how it makes you feel when you're doing it. If it's a release and it changes your mood. I worked a lot with vets working with art therapy. Okay. And they'd come back and everything would be dark, really thick strokes, bold strokes of dark paints and colors. And I know it sounds obvious, but eventually a little light came into the paintings, and you could tell that they were, and sometimes they'd go back dark again, and that was fine. And, a little more, and it would change, and then they'd start thinking. It was amazing to see how art therapy works. And same with autistic or disabled children. So there's something to be said for being able to express yourself, whether you're doing it as glass blower, or I bet you blacksmith is great, because you're beating a hot iron all day, man. That's got to be just therapeutic,
Well, for anyone who doesn't know where to start, what I would recommend is just buy a notebook, get a pen, and then just put on the paper whatever comes to your mind. It could be a drawing, it could be a sentence, it could be a paragraph, it could be a doodle, just whatever's in your brain, just let your hands flow.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to try things too. It might be people do this by cooking, making the perfect souffle, or making a wonderful shrimp scampi, or that great sauce. It's funny, around the holidays, I've always enjoyed. I think it was because after I lost my mom, I went to live with a very Italian family, and it was a whole new world, a whole new culture, and great food. But it was the way the ladies and everybody would talk about, I'm going to make my meatballs. Oh, hey, she's going to make her meatballs, man. It's going to be good. And, and then you have the conversations in the kitchen. Oh, you put too much oregano. It's a little too salty for me. I put in my sauce. All these conversations back and forth. Have you ever had a lasagna? But there's a pride to it. That's an art, I hate cooking. I really do, unless I want to do it, and then I want to do it right. And it's usually a traditional thing. That you want that taste back. You want to go back, in your mind for a minute. Much like ghosts and stuff do. I mean, that's pretty cool that they can, over there it seems. And I think in the afterlife we're busy too. I think there we learn to teach each other what we've learned. And, I've heard people are really excited to go, how did that work out that time? We were worried about that one. Woo, that was something. Tell us about it. How did it feel? We're teaching. And I've heard that you get to pick what you want to do. And, I've heard that for a long time, so I keep saving animals and chilling with nature and stuff. So I've got all that, with me. So think about it.
Visited.
Think about it. Why not? So I think that's cool. Let's do a show on reincarnation and look up on it. I mean, I've got stories. I've got things. I got pictures that take me back that, I heard I was like this Paul Stewart. I went and checked the writing and everything else. Same there. It went with a vision I had. There's a lot of stories for that. But I'm telling you what, we've done 2.5 hours tonight. I love you guys so much. Sometimes these are the best shows where we just... Did you see the Telly Savalas vid?
Yeah.
Bry.
Yeah, no.
Great story. I mean, my God.
I've heard it before. I didn't hear the other thing about the
With the
watch.
Dallas. I will
Dallas
find
thing.
that.
But yeah, I
yeah.
think, I wrote it in chat. The fact that he was so polite and nice to the ghost, considered and took him not for granted, and I think there was a connection made there, a genuine connection.
Yeah.
That spirit that killed themselves probably had a really tough life, never had anything good.
Yeah.
And this person treated them with the respect. And I think there was a connection there. Hey, do you hear about Dallas?
Yeah.
That's why they would come back.
Yeah, it's interesting, absolutely interesting. And also, you think about a lot of times when people go out like that too, they find out that if they help others, it helps them, so they can change their frequency and their vibration.
Right.
And multiple times we've heard this, so it could have something to do with that too. But hey, it's Telly Savalas, So thank you guys for coming in, chat.
Pleasure.
I love you
Thank
all.
you.
I'm sure I missed some good stories. Aunt Edna, I would love to have you and Terry Brown. I saw you guys have stories. Anybody wants to tell a story, we're gonna pick a Monday where everybody calls in and just tells their story. We just boom, 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 and
don't be
just
shy.
get all that.
Chat.
Be wonderful, and you don't have to have your video. You just cut the camera off, and it'll come up with a little icon of your choosing, and or the default one is just fine too. So you don't have to be techie or anything like that. Courtney, I want to thank you for those wonderful videos. Thank whoever took those videos and shared them with us. I don't think it was a bag. I don't know what it was. All we can really do is kind of decompress on stuff like that and just kind of, okay, well, it's not this. We still don't know what it is, but interesting nonetheless. Donnie, thank you so much for coming in. Give our love to Toby, and great questions. And I love it when everybody comes in and gives their vantage point. And Bri, again,
Always.
Thanks for stopping in. My love to the fam. And stay on the silver. And you can attest to the claw. Can you not? Tell the chat.
Yeah, actually,
We're not doctors.
Yep. I started taking claw, and the first time I took it, it was an experience. So I want to tell you to be very prepared. But
it's anti-parasitical, which is why it's working right now.
So I actually switched to something that is
a tincture.
Yeah,
does that say hairballs?
I went to Mary Ruth's cat claw.
It says herbals. I thought it said hairballs.
I've noticed that if I take 3 drops, every 2 days, skip a day,
nice.
It really helps out with psoriasis and eczema. So it's
baby.
That's huge.
I used to get that real bad too.
Yeah, told you, baby. This stuff works. See, that's another thing with herbal stuff. Now, again, there are much better herbalists. I highly recommend this lady right here. Fantastic. Proof is in the pudding. She does great stuff, and she can put it down. And she's got the PhD behind it. But if you work on the inside, say you have a skin, your skin is your largest organ in your body. Everybody says, oh, heart, this, your brain. No, it's your skin. So when they tell you to put on sunscreen with all this crap in it, and then they tell you don't eat it, well, you're absorbing it. So think there, start small, make sense, common sense, right? So if you've got something your skin's trying to tell you, start in the inside. So that's why I said claw. It's antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitical, antibacterial, it's amazing. Read up on it. It's getting harder and harder to get. It's not expensive. It's not expensive, but just read up on the company you get it from too, because but look into it, because it is a blood thinner too. Hemophiliacs and people with leukemia shouldn't take it. That's one thing I do know. Right. And if you take blood pressure, you have to medicine, which
you got to be very careful.
Attest. Less of a dose, so get some guidance.
The secret to success with everything and the way you heal yourself, it's all about your gut.
Yep.
And that's why when you said diet, and when she did it with her diet, when you change your diet and you change your gut and the bacteria that's within it, it solves a lot of your problems. And that's good. But yeah, I recommend it. Just don't go overboard.
Yeah, I mean, and look into it and research it, but get it from a couple different places. Something I learned as an herbalist too. Same way I get my news or facts or anything like that. I want like 5 or 6 or 7 different sources that don't know each other and aren't getting their information from the same source. And that's how you deal with herbs. And then you look into Chinese herbal medicine and how did they use it and why and what are the recommendations. Then you look at Native American and tribal and things like that. And then you look and see, does the FDA say it's good for you? And if they say don't take it, that's the crowning glory right there.
FDA's allergic to herbs.
Because it works.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. And get in a chat with somebody and talk to people. Like if it's arthritis, there's plenty of chat rooms and stuff of natural cures and natural herbal remedies and things like that. I mean, my God, we've been doing. I have books and books and books and books and books on Native American medicines and things like that, and how to harvest them in your area. So you should also get a book of plants in your area and how to identify them, because you get a rattlesnake bite, and in the area that the rattlesnake lives, there's going to be a plant that helps you fight the effects of the venom. And it's just poison ivy, same thing. Plant, the cure grows right next to poison ivy, poison oak. So somebody knew what they were doing, whether you call it Buddha, Allah, the light, great spirit, God, source, energy, whatever. They knew what they were doing. The answers are here. Our eyes are opening. Our consciousness is raising. We're starting to see. The light's getting brighter. Let's use it.
Yep.
Because I know you're going to use it for good. Because like Donnie said, we're superheroes. This could very well be. There is a Justice League. There's lots of little cells of that. And this chat's one of them. Guaranteed. Right, guys?
Oh, I agree with
I
that.
love you all. Let's get out of here tonight. Be the light. See you next week, guys. I love you all. Good night, everybody. Let's get this on here. Ooh, I've messed it up. Okay. Good night.